Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Radio FWD Podcast. I am super excited to bring on two of my wonderful movie fanatic guests to talk about their favorite films of 2025. We have a bunch of topics to cover, different genres, different little awards to give out for 2025. But first, let me introduce my guests. First and foremost, welcome back, Prabhjot Bains. How are you doing?
Great. A little cold, but I'll never turn down an opportunity to chat movies with you, for sure.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, it's, what is it, like minus 25 today?
Potato, you know.
And introducing Marc Basque, who is a programmer at Paradise. You have an upcoming film series. Why don't you tell us about that?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Yes, I am a co-programmer along with my colleague, Lacey Novinko. We have a new series coming up at the Paradise called Hear Me Out, in defense of the underappreciated and overhated. So we're going to be showing films that were either critically panned or which were, have been forgotten, I would say unfairly so. So our first screening is coming up in February 9th. And we will be showing the Amy Poehler, Paul Rudd laugh extravaganza, They Came Together, being introduced and defended by the great Adam Naiman, my favorite film critic. So we're really, really excited. We haven't announced any other titles yet, but you can check out our Instagram, Hear Me Out Paradise on Instagram. I'm already plugging, and
that's okay. I'll link it.
You can see our poster, and we have some teases for what some of the upcoming films might be. So yeah, again, very excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Super excited for that. And of course, Prab is film editor for Range magazine. You can check out a lot of his writing online on Range's Instagram. But why don't you?
Range is. Just to say it again, Range is a arts music publication. We're online daily, print quarterly. Our winter issue just came out. I'm the film editor at Range, so the issue takes also a look at our best films of 2025, in addition to a lot of music. So definitely worth checking out, worth reading. Save print media for sure.
Sorry if I'm making you repeat yourself with the upcoming issue of Range.
You know me. I don't hate talking about myself.
For sure.
You know it.
Okay, to get into it, let's just talk about 2025 as a sort of amoebus idea of film as film culture and how we felt the year went for film itself. Let's start with you, Marc. Like, how did 2025 feel as a film year?
So
it's gonna stand out.
I have seen now 121 new releases that came out in 2025. I would say that towards the end of November going into December, I thought it was a fine film year. There were some films I had liked. There were some films that were disappointing to me. Didn't seem to really stand out. But over December, as I usually do, I go home for Christmas to New Brunswick, and I catch up with a lot of films that I hadn't seen over the year. So I watched about 20 movies over that time. And now, as I sit here with you today, I think 2025 is a fantastic year for movies. I have a top 25 of the year, some of which I'll be sharing here today, and a lot of them could have made the top 10. There was 5 or 10 other films that were in competition for the top 25. I would say there's probably about 35 to 40 movies that I'm like really enthusiastic about, and to me that's a great year. But what I would say is that year over year, mainstream movies, the movies that most people are able to interact with, whether in a movie theater or coming out on Netflix, are getting worse and worse. So there is a bigger and bigger disconnect. Growing up, in the 90s, you were able to see a lot more movies just walking into a multiplex, being able to see a lot more mid-budget movies that might blow your mind. And now it takes a little bit more effort to get to some of the more hidden gems. Although I will say, when you hear my top 10, there is a lot of movies or several movies, that are on the Oscar Best Picture nominations, and there are some big movies that made it on here. So not a total bust for mainstream movies, but I would say, yeah, in general, year over year, you have to do a little bit more digging to get, below the surface.
How about you, Prab?
I echo a lot of the same sentiments. A lot of highs in terms of big releases for me. A couple of lows. But again, I feel that this year was fine. I think, for lack of a better word, very fine. I think there were a lot of movies that I liked but didn't love. But overall, I think, as Marc was saying, you really have to dig to find those kind of releases. I think it's surprising that from the American studio system that we did get as much gold as we did this year. But again, a lot of digging that you have to do, and a lot of, as you'll see in my list, a lot of my titles come from kind of the indie sphere of film. But overall, I think in comparison to kind of the 2020s en masse, I think this is most likely the best year of the 2020s. But the direction that we're heading, a lot of mergers, a lot of acquisitions. The infamous big Netflix. I don't know what direction we're going to head into.
Yeah.
Again, if you're looking on the streaming space, a lot of slop.
For sure.
Content. They're trying to make movies into content.
Second
They're trying
screen
to
content.
100%. They want, like, as Ben and Matt said on the, I don't know if it's Joe Rogan or whatever, but Netflix is telling you to restate the plot every
Four times.
Oh, yeah, that's
Netflix
right.
Sheen has, streaming Sheen has started to infect some multiplex movies. But
yeah, and
absolutely.
And you'll see that in my biggest disappointment of the year as well. That kind of affectation.
Sure. But not to jump in, but I think that there will be a bounce back. I think that, the Marvel movies are underperforming. Lots of big budget movies are underperforming. I'm hoping that there will be a little bit of a bounce back. There will be more mid-budget movies, and it won't have to be, TV and miniseries that pick up the slack. But how did you find this?
Oh, I'm parroting something I read online, but the experience of just being able to go to the theater and see something decent or good is kind of disappearing. Like, now it's like, okay, maybe once a month you'll have a slate of films at the theater that are worth seeing in the theater. It's worth spending your money at the theater to go see. And that's the worry, that these mid-budget, low-budget films that would have been churned out week to week almost in the 2010s or 2000s, that's sort of disappearing, which is like, it's a big concern, of course.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, if you even look at the kind of box office, as in every year, it's a lot of established IP, a lot of rudimentary remakes, a lot of safe sequels.
Yeah.
And I think the kind of tradition of movies for adults or movies for more mature audiences or audiences that are actually vested in kind of this tradition are disappearing.
We will be talking about a lot of them today. And I will just say, like, it is true, like, going to the movies is harder than ever. But, I live in Toronto. A lot of us live in the GTA. There's no better place in Canada to see movies than,
absolutely.
Only in New York or LA will there be movies that will come out that won't come out in Toronto. So we are very, very spoiled for choice. But
sure.
When I go back to New Brunswick, when I go to Moncton, it can be pretty depressing seeing the movies that are not just movies that are coming out, but the movies that are not coming out that I see opening in Toronto. And I'm like,
this is what I call touching grass and stepping out of our film bubble, because when we're in Toronto and we hear people complain about, there's nothing good to watch anymore, we're like, what do you mean? There's so many amazing movies out there. I saw 120 movies, 2025 releases, and they're all incredible this year. And then you step out, and I went to my suburban hometown in Massachusetts, and going to my local movie theater and actually getting the AMC experience and being like, oh, okay, people have to go to the movies to see Roofman. That which I liked.
I liked Roofman too.
Exactly. No, but here's the thing.
Not in my top 25, but I liked it.
I liked it, but here's the thing. This is the sort of phenomena that I'm thinking about, is like, you have to, when having this conversation about the state of film industry and the state of going to the theater, this is what you have to picture. Somebody going to their suburban movie theater or
the multiplex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What sort of choice do they have?
I will say, I don't think Roofman's the best choice, because that kind of is a mid-budget,
and it's great.
90s, like,
and I was
throwback.
a big fan.
Yeah.
But I completely understand.
But that's the sort of thing I wish you could just go to the theater and see all the time.
And that movie didn't do well, at the
Right.
box office.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think it kind of underperformed. So, again, I hope that those types of movies there's a future for them, there's a place for them, because...
Yeah.
No Country for Roofmen.
Yeah, there you go. Because it's the same sentiment that I feel echoed from family who live near the West Coast in Alberta. They read a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about. Like, I can't even see this movie.
Well, here's the question I hate the most, and I'm spoiled because I have ways of finding movies on the internet.
Right.
But whenever I'm telling someone about the movie and they go, "Oh, what service is it on?
I
where,
don't even
where can I
know
watch it?
half
And it
the
makes
time.
me mad because there are some movies, that'll end up on Crave. A few of them will end up on Netflix, but for the most part, they're not there. You can rent them for sometimes $5 to $10 on iTunes. You can go to the video store, but most places don't have a video store. So I get it, but I implore people to be intentional in the movies that you choose and not just to, watch the stuff that is put in front of your face.
The easiest access to.
Algorithmically, because there is a lot of, and I can't wait to start getting into them. There are a lot of really wonderful movies that are still being made every single year, and so many more than you would think. Like when you go to Letterboxd and look at movies that came out in 2025 or something, you're like, how is there 5,000 movies? It's insane. Anyway.
All right. We'll get to our top 10 lists for sure, but we're gonna start off with some of our minor awards. Not that these movies are minor. These are. We'll start off with some of our favorite movies, but let's start off with our favorite documentary of the year. I tried to focus our top 10 for for fiction and narratives and those kind of films. So I want to give space because documentary is also filmmaking. It's a very special and close to my heart form of filmmaking. So let's start with you, Prav. What's your favorite documentary of the year?
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying this was a year where I caught the least amount of documentaries I've ever seen. I usually am a big documentary aficionado. A lot of my friends or my family say "Why are you just put on a movie? Why are you watching this?" And there was a smaller crop that I had to pick from, but for me, it was one that I recently viewed. I caught it one random night on Crave, and recently I think it just got nominated for Best Documentary. It's called The Alabama Solution. It is comes from filmmaker Andrew Jarecki, who has made The Jinx Part 2, Capturing the Freedmans, and so this documentary kind of aims its lens or its scope at the Alabama Corrections Department or the Department of Corrections and kind of the state that prisoners are kind of being treated in or left at. And when you watch the documentary in itself, and it takes these kind of testimonials from prisoners who are living currently in these prisons, hiding their phones and cameras through contraband and kind of adding their testimonies and talking about their experiences, you really get a sense that you're watching that America as a whole is really not far from an open air prison, and that these are people who understand that they've done things that are wrong and they're here for a reason, but the inhumanity that they're treated with and kind of this return of slavery or indentured servitude that's cropping up, and the kind of misuse of control by a lot of these guards where, you end up to prison for a non-violent crime and you leave in a body bag. And it's a film that through kind of its intimate lens kind of really made me think about how prisons are an entity that's really separated from or not really talked about. And there's a line that stays with me in the film that, journalists have more access to war zones than they do in the prison system because media it's sheltered. So the narratives can completely controlled by these facilities and by the government, the state government, Alabama. So it really put the lens inward to take a look at, how do we want to shape justice? What justice means and is justice being served? And I think it's, there's so many social documentaries out there or documentaries as trying to start a movement or trying to have a message, but this one really felt like it was an expose in kind of the traditional form. And through so many documentaries that even you look at Cover Up this year that was about journalism, I think this one is really actively taking that stance and is a big expose. And the message it leaves you with is not one of hope, really. It's one of, here is the status quo, and it's been the status quo, and what are we going to do about it? While to nitpick a bit, I do think the film lacks a little bit in kind of its cinematic flourishes or whatnot. But I think that stripped down tone of it really makes its message wide and clear, and it's really affecting. So not the biggest year for nonfiction, but that's one that stuck with me for sure.
I do want to hop in here because you did mention my pick for documentary of the year. But before I get into that, there's it sounds a bit, I haven't seen it, and I'm definitely gonna check it out now, but it sounds a bit like the stripped back quality a bit like Frederick Wiseman, maybe, like same.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. Because he has a prison documentary, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Definitely not as painterly, I would say, as Frederick Wiseman or whatnot.
Goat.
There's a lot of editing because a lot of the
sure.
footage that they're dealing with is like highly digitized because they're recording on flip phones and trying to get their message out.
Yeah,
so
that's fascinating.
it uses that to its advantage. But there's a lot of personal stories as well. You know, it switches kind of as a dual narrative where it switches between prison testimonials, what's going on at specific facilities. It tracks a hunger strike or a labor strike that happens because they don't want to work anymore as indentured slaves. And then there's also another narrative where family members are trying to get justice for someone who was killed in a Alabama prison. So I think it does have a kind of made-for-TV quality to it a bit, but I think it's a film that uses its kind of assets that it has, the digitized kind of camera work and kind of these intimate testimonials to its advantage. And again, it's stripped down. It's not going to wow you with its kind of flourishes or editing or whatnot, but it cuts to the bone through that kind of simplicity. So that's what stayed with me.
So you did mention my pick, which is Cover Up by Laura Poitras and Mark Obenhaus. I absolutely loved that documentary. I saw it at TIFF, and it's available now on streaming.
Netflix.
On Netflix, which always makes me a little nervous about the narrative, given the corporate quality of Netflix and whatnot. So going into it, I knew that it was purchased by Netflix and it was going to be showcased by them. But I also have a lot of trust in Laura Poitras, the director of Citizen 4, which is absolutely exhilarating documentary about Edward Snowden and the real time publishing of his whistleblowing manifesto. This is a new documentary about Seymour Hersh and his immense career covering pretty much every instance of American imperialism since he was born. He's a fascinating figure, stalwart of independent journalism and of investigative journalism, rather. I don't know. I thought with the flourishes too. This is like a thriller to the degree of any of those like 70s paranoia thrillers like All the President's Men and Parallax View and those sort of films. So if you like that sort of a high octane, anxiety inducing, the government is setting you up sort of vibe, I definitely say
you're right about that.
Up.
I did get a huge kind of Pakula vibe from it as well. So that was one of my favorite parts of the film. For
yeah,
sure.
no, I loved it. It has all the flourishes, but he's also a fascinating figure because there's so many narratives about his career from people who have different agendas to push around the sort of work that he does. There was a big smear campaign actually recently to basically discredit his entire work, accusing him of faking sources or the fact that he's only ever worked with anonymous sources. But you can go through his career and see that he's correct time and time again, and he's accurate in his reporting time and time again. But people are kind of leaning into a recent inaccuracy about Russia and Putin and Ukraine to discredit the rest of his career. He's a complicated figure. He's a fascinating individual. I think the important thing is to go in and make up your own mind about these sort of things and see if he's doing good work or not, and read about the various publications that he's worked with and the things that he's published.
My favorite part of the movie is just how ornery he is.
Yeah.
And how, he really second guesses actually participating in the documentary at one point.
Yeah.
When they're looking at his journal and, they have they have access to some of his sources, and he's very, very protective of his sources.
Yeah.
And, they I think very smartly left it in the movie, this kind of crisis of conscience mode where he's like, we shouldn't be doing this.
Well,
let's stop.
He is rightfully probably the most paranoid person on planet Earth, as he's definitely been spied on and continues to be spied on at all times in his communications, on his cell phone. So the second that he felt that he gave up too much of himself to the documentary team, that they saw something they weren't supposed to see, that was the immediate reaction, was to turtle and cancel all of this. But they talked to him. I mean, they are experts, Poitras and Marc. Sorry, I forget his name.
I do think that Marc is mostly involved in the movie just to make Seymour Hersh feel comfortable.
Yeah,
because it really does feel like a lower.
He's like his therapist.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I liked the movie. I wasn't quite as high on it as I was some of her other documentaries, like you said, Citizen4 and the Risk about Julian Assange come to mind, as well as all the Beauty and the Bloodshed.
Oh yeah,
which is one of the best documentaries.
I think that's the high point for me. For her.
But I did like it. My experience with documentary is that when people ask me if I like documentary, I'll often kind of make a face and maybe just kind of be like, yeah. And it's not because I don't like documentary films. It's because so much, again, it's like mainstream documentaries has been taken over by, I almost want to call it like the Netflixification right now of documentaries, which is, if you see these train wreck documentaries.
Oh yeah.
The
crime exploitative.
Yeah, and it's
exposés.
just like here's a clip, here's someone sitting in front, talking headshot of someone, in their office. Here's a clip, here's them in their office.
You mean that it's a bit uninspired, like the style is the same across the board?
Yeah, it's just that so many documentaries just do not pass the is this more compelling than reading a Wikipedia article about the same thing. But there were several wonderful documentaries that came out this year. I want to shout out a movie called Predators, which is an investigation of... I'm sorry if that was on your list.
No, that's not
okay,
on my list.
Awesome. And yeah, there's some other wonderful documentaries. We talked a little bit about...
Oh, wait, but Predators is about Chris Hansen, right?
Yeah.
About To Catch a Predator and just sort of examining the complicated legacy of
ethics.
That. Yes. And I watched a lot of To Catch a Predator. So I was really into this documentary.
That feels like one of the earliest YouTube rabbit holes.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
100%. And there's another documentary that I love that's going to be on my top 10 list that I haven't, I'm not going to go into right now. But the film that I have chosen as my favorite documentary is Adam Curtis's new 5-part documentary, Shifty. I think this is one of the best ever Adam Curtis documentaries, and he has made a ton of them. So if you don't know Adam Curtis, he is a BBC documentarian who basically goes through the archives of BBC documentaries to put together his pieces. He made a piece called Can't Get You Out of My Head, a wonderful one about hypernormalization called Hypernormalization, which is just sort of about all the things that are insane that have become really normal that we just accept as normal. We're like, oh yeah, like the government doesn't actually represent us as people, and they're bought by
so kind of like
corporations.
Manufactured consent.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. But this one is about sort of the last 40 years in the UK and UK under Margaret Thatcher, and it is another one of his films that's basically like about how we got where we are right now. So this is a film that is about how hyper-individualization and free markets basically destroyed democracy in America and the UK.
So does this one have narration? Because I know Trauma Zone doesn't, which is his last one.
Yes. I'm halfway through Trauma Zone right now. Russia, 1989 to
2001?
2001?
Yeah, something like that.
Fantastic. No, so what I was going to say was that he usually has a lot of narration that undergirds his documentaries, but in the last two that he made, along with Trauma Zone, he has freed himself from having to make every clip follow into a very cogent point that he's making, and he's able to make much more poetic associations that just kind of swirl around, and sometimes you might not be quite sure, why one clip follows the other, but by the end of the 5-part, by the time you're in the last 10 minutes, it is just like absolutely incredible, like the impact that it hits you with. I could not recommend this more. It is long. It's 5 hours long. There's not a lot of narration, there's no narration, so it's not as easily digestible as other documentaries, but I think this is just one of the most important things that's come out in quite some time. So could not recommend Shifty.
There's
by
also
Adam
an
Curtis
excellent Twitter account if you want to catch the vibe of what Adam Curtis is like. There's a Twitter account called Adam Curtis B-roll that captures current clips that might feature in a future Adam Curtis documentary.
True.
The vibe of wow, no, this is completely normal. Actually, is caught in this Twitter account that basically catches the vibe of Adam Curtis. So yeah, if you've never seen an Adam Curtis documentary, I mean they're all incredible. Bitter Lake is amazing if you want to learn about Afghanistan and American involvement in various wars in the 20th century. So what was your biggest disappointment of the year? We'll start with you, Mark. Anything you were awaiting or looking forward to that just like didn't meet expectations?
Yeah, there's a few. I'll be honest with you. There's a few films jockeying for position.
Oh wow.
In this right now. So I'm just gonna go with my gut because a lot of them I wasn't really expecting them to be that good. But in light of the Best Picture nominees that came out recently, I'm gonna have to go with Joseph Kosinski's F1.
Yeah.
I could not be a bigger fan of Top Gun Maverick. I think that is among the best action movies ever made. Such a simple story. All the beats have been done before, but done to such perfection. Where even the romance between Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly, which absolutely should not work, is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Also, one of the best movies ever about people watching screens and sitting forward in chairs as they get more into it. But I was looking forward to F1, fast cargo vroom movie. Like,
Yeah.
I'm into that. You know, I like Ford versus Ferrari. I like Days of
Fantastic
Thunder.
movie.
I like, Grand Prix. I love racing movies. I felt this movie underdelivered in pretty much every aspect.
100%.
I thought the races were not that compelling. Especially since like he constantly seems to be like winning the race by these like weird technicalities.
Yeah, and
stuff.
also cheating.
Yeah, he's like cheating and like crashing his car
Which
so like someone can.
F1 is involved in the production of this movie. I cannot believe they greenlit a portrayal of their sport as a bunch of lying and cheating. And they just completely get away with it at the end of
That's
the
actually
movie.
why I kind of enjoyed the movie.
I just like, I don't know. It really felt like an ad the whole way through. The
100%.
slickness, the way that it looked, I didn't like it. The character of Brad Pitt who just comes in and is just like never wrong.
Yeah.
Again, it's like a variation of the character from Top Gun Maverick, but there's something about him like having to prove himself and re-getting into it where there's an actual arc. With Brad Pitt, he just comes in and is just kind of right the whole time and does everything right and then just kind of walks away. I don't know. The movie did absolutely nothing for me. I guffawed when I saw it on the Best Picture nominees list. It seemed like it took the slot which was designated for It Was Just an Accident by
100%.
Jafar Panahi. So very strange. This movie's like 2.5 hours long and I find it just not compelling in the slightest. Televisual, I would say, for most of it.
I mean, I echo a lot of the same sentiments. I think all the characters are very poorly written, especially the women or female characters. I mean, their life doesn't exist outside of pleasing their male counterparts.
They're just there to be like, man, Brad Pitt is so hot.
Yeah, but you know what I wrote in my covers of the film was like, hey man, it's not built for substance. It's built for speed.
But even I just didn't feel like it delivered on that. Like I was
I
ready.
saw it in IMAX. I'm a huge F1 fan.
I saw it in Screen X, which is really funny. But
You're probably just looking at the back of the auditorium the whole time.
My friend Amir and my friend and former roommate Amir got me into F1 almost 7 years ago now, and been watching every season since, following the updates of the new rules. And I mean, we're gonna get a big shakeup this year. Like F1 is blowing up, bigger than I've ever seen before. That's a lot thanks to Netflix. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised this was an Apple TV production, not Netflix, given their association with F1.
I'm surprised it wasn't like a Shopify. This is like one of the few movies where there are like corporate logos on the screen for like 95%.
it's an Apple ad, a lot of it. I mean, the EarPods to the Apple Watches to everything.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but also given the product placement on F1 cars themselves, it's literally becomes part of the culture of F1 that like there's drama if you follow F1, there's drama with sponsorships that become news items that people talk about, right? Like the Kick Sauber team. That is a gambling unfiltered streaming service or live streaming service that is trying to, compete with Twitch. Like that is a news item in and of itself, the ethics of advertising gambling services in countries where it's prohibited and it's banned. That's why it's Kick and not Stake.com.
Right.
But the product placement is at the heart of F1. I mean,
I know.
All sports are evil. If you like sports, you're not a bad person. But sports are inherently evil. But F1 in particular has so much against it, but it's still so compelling because it's like a multi-billion-dollar soap opera. And it just doesn't. F1, the movie, doesn't capture any of that.
Yeah, getting it back on track. It didn't. I wanted to feel like I was watching a movie, like a big movie, the way the Top Gun made you feel when you went back to the theaters, and it did not feel like that. It felt like an Apple original movie.
Yeah, I'm less hard on the film.
What's your disappointment?
My biggest disappointment of the year is one that I looked forward to because I'm a big fan of this director. But I think Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein really didn't do it for me. I think it's a film that from its visuals to its storytelling approach. I mean, this is a film that was built for me. No one loves period dramas more than me. No one loves the way, the grotesqueries that kind of Guillermo del Toro works with. But I think it didn't come together in the slightest. I think it's a film, in terms of its visual approach, I'm not a fan of the way that like we're talking about, the Netflix sheen that's been applied to it. I think it cuts through kind of the depth and the texture of all of the frames.
This was a big problem with Nightmare Alley as well. It just seemed burnished in like a yellow orange that did not feel cinematic.
The dark browny greens that are kind of infiltrating every frame don't work for me. And I also don't appreciate his kind of free-flowing camera that he works through. And I think the result is a film that is not really blocked or composed or choreographed in a way that's interesting. You just have this camera that's floating in front of these close-ups or fisheye lenses or whatnot that these people are just talking, but it doesn't feel alive. And for a film about bringing a creature to life, it's so lifeless and stilted.
I have to say, I watched 121 movies this year. Frankenstein was the easiest skip for me. I was like, I'm not going to like this. I have not liked this dude's past 5 movies.
Oh, wow.
All love to Toronto's grand uncle Guillermo del Toro, but just
honorary mayor.
Absolutely not for me. I see Jacob Elordi, I see Guillermo del Toro. I'm like, skip, pass.
I do love that. I think the free-flowing camera works very well in my favorite scene of that movie, which is the Oscar Isaac in the medical room, was surrounded by doctors.
The kind of amphitheater or the theater,
exactly, where he's demonstrating the capabilities of his new technology. I think that really works, and the whole murmurs in the crowd and outrage thing really. I thought, okay, now we're kicking. Like the energy of this film is trucking along, but I agree. It kind of it did lose me.
Yeah, no, and also just in terms of being an adaptation, I felt it took zero risks in being a Frankenstein adaptation. I think it recycled the same motifs and themes, really across its bloated length to really a sickening degree. And I just really wish that Guillermo del Toro goes back to making original films, because his last couple of movies have all been remakes or readaptations or reimaginings. I did like Pinocchio a lot, but this current phase is really producing diminishing returns. And overall, I just think the creature design wasn't that great as well. I mean, Jacob Elordi is a handsome-looking dude, right? He's very handsome, but the monster there should be detachment. It should look more grotesque. And the whole time, I'm just I just want to fuck Frankenstein and the monster the whole time.
This is my problem with every adaptation of Frankenstein. I'm just I want to fuck Frankenstein. I am really looking forward to Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride coming out next year.
Because that looks like it's taking risks.
Looks like it has a take. Yeah, I saw the Frankenstein trailer and I was like, why is he even making this movie? Just because he can get a budget for it and it'll look stately and he can spend a couple $100 million? I don't get it.
I think it's the origin story of his sort of aesthetic. So
Yeah.
I understand wanting to be like, I mean, he would be the guy to make Frankenstein.
I understand
to be
why
fair.
he would want to, but I just don't think he like has a take that justifies it. And
That's fair.
Having not seen the film, I'm making this judgment.
I find it more interesting listening to him talk about that movie than
Exactly. I mean, at TIFF, when he was talking about the movie, I'm like, yeah,
has so
but
many
I
interesting
didn't
ideas.
see
You
that
should be
come
like
up-
Kevin Smith and just pivot into full-time
like
podcaster
podcasting.
like on tour.
I didn't see any of what he was saying come alive on the screen. And really, like, in terms of the performances from Mia Goth or Oscar Isaac, it felt like adults making a kid's movie, like very outlined,
YA.
expressionistic. And the best scene in the movie is one that Frankenstein's not even in. It's Christoph Waltz and Oscar Isaac kind of having their internal battle. So it was really a big disappointment from me. And someone who really wanted to feel the pride of it's a Toronto movie.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
showing
yeah.
it in Toronto.
There are better Toronto
I don't want an
movies that are more
association.
Toronto.
No,
For sure.
I mean, I would take Mary Shelley's Robert De Niro Frankenstein over this.
Let's not
honestly.
go crazy here.
Okay, yeah, my biggest disappointment of the year is a spin-off of a franchise that I really adore. I absolutely love John Wick. I thought
boy.
John Wick 4 was fantastic.
John Wick 4 is cinema.
Yeah, no, it's really incredible. I loved seeing it in theaters. Again, like this, we talk so much about the theater experience and like feeling like you're seeing something big happen, something that people will chat about and talk about.
So rarely is a movie as good and beautiful as John Wick 4, like a big movie. Like
It's-
John Wick 4 is gorgeous.
I honestly
And
thought
you-
like 90s John Woo came back to make that movie.
For real, every set piece is just so brilliantly thought out and like it's artful, which is just shocking to talk about a movie, the fourth movie in an action franchise, being artful and beautiful, and it really is.
A grand sculpture of gunplay. Like,
But we're talking about Ballerina today.
Yeah, Ballerina is a massive stinker. I think it's so dreadfully boring. I remember one interesting kill in that movie, and that's about it. And it's when Ana de Armas sticks a grenade in someone's mouth, and it's like, is that even interesting? I don't know. I don't remember anything about this movie. I was looking at my list of things that I saw this year, and I think that is the epitome of a disappointment when you don't even remember details about the movie.
Wasn't it directed by Len Wiseman?
I think so.
Like Len Wiseman was going to take over. Like the reason that the John Wick movies are good is because they're directed by a stuntman, Chad Stahelski,
Right.
and he knows like how. Like Len Wiseman made like the Total Recall remake, right?
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
Live Free or Die Hard. Like I don't know. And didn't they
yeah, I'm
like
not
bring
sure what they were
in
thinking.
Stahelski to like reshoot some of that? Movie 'cause it
but
was
I also think
problematic?
the charisma factor is so dead in this movie. I mean, I'm not here to act like that Keanu is the greatest actor.
Yeah,
But his
Keanu
aura-
is a great physical
exactly
actor.
his aura, his stature, his
He's
kind
like
of vibe
fucking
that he brings.
Buster Keaton in
Exactly.
John Wick Chapter
Yeah.
4.
He
like-
brings that to John Wick, and that's
There's
a
a
film
gravitas.
it feeds off his kind of charisma, and I think Ana de Armas has none of it. I
She
think
was so
she's
good in No Time to Die
Exactly.
in that short scene, but
and the thing is, I think she's like amazing, and I would do anything to see her on film.
I would do
love-
anything for her. Anna, please call me.
please call me. I'm not single, but please call me. But
We can cut that if you want. I'm just kidding.
no, but her charisma is just it's not there, and so there's nothing to feed off any of the performances, and so when the movie isn't doing its kind of lilting action sequences, you're kind of dying in the interplay between its characters, and so the bullet stays in the chamber throughout the whole movie.
This was another easy skip for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I've made the right choices while talking to you gentlemen today.
Yeah, it's extremely mid. So I absolutely you can skip it. Nothing redeemable about that movie. It's not a 1 star. I mean, I don't want to get caught up in like number ratings or anything like that. But with just how incredible John Wick 4 was, I was immensely disappointed by it.
Shout out to the Smashing Machine on disappointing films this year. Hope that's not on anyone's list.
That was a bordering on being the biggest disappointment of the year for me.
That was
also,
another one of my.
I thought it was fine.
and it's interesting that movie. I mean, two brothers who've done movies about American athletes going to Japan, and one is significantly better than the other.
We'll get into it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. I'm not as harsh on Smashing Machine. Again, I think we mentioned this before we started recording, but I think there's a lot of extremely interesting drama and stories in MMA. in you mentioned wrestling before we started, and I think combat sports in general, it just offers the scaffolding for interesting drama and interesting stories. Because all sports, generally speaking, all competition is a manifestation of fighting and beating each other to a pulp, but in different ways, like with a ball or a puck, but this is like the essence of sports. So for me, it's like essence of competition rather. And for me, I understand why it might fall flat. I think it kind of repeats itself far too many times, and Emily Blunt does not give a very good performance.
Neither does The Rock, honestly. This was a vanity project for him, and he kind of just has one note, which is like, "Oh, I'm a teddy bear, but I'm actually big." I will also say it's based off of a documentary,
right?
By I want to say John Hyams, son of Peter Hyams, who made Time Cop, also called The Smashing Machine, and the movie is basically a beat-for-beat remake of the documentary. The story is not the best, but the documentary has the, it was made during that time, so they didn't know what the story was going to be. To make the feature film and basically keep it the same story, which is honestly not that compelling, and the only thing they added was like those scenes with Emily Blunt and The Rock yelling at each other and throwing stuff, which is just Oscar clip stuff.
But the worst part is those are the best scenes in the movie. I mean, when you cut to the lifeless UFC fight, I mean, they are filmed, I thought, or captured with no cadence or no, I think it wasn't deliberately shot or filmed. I thought it was so lifeless and so boring. And I'm someone who doesn't like UFC, but in a film you can take liberties, and it didn't. I thought it was, it felt lifeless, and those are the few scenes that worked for me. I will say though, I'm not a total hater of Smashing Machine. I did like its kind of miserablest, anticlimactic kind of route that it takes, but overall kind of almost lifeless effort, I would say.
I'd call myself a total hater. We can move
on. All right, let's get into our favorite scene of the year. So this is, I didn't really describe it to you guys, but this is basically one moment in the past year that maybe exemplifies the movie perfectly or encapsulates the year. I'm very interested to hear what you guys came up with, but why don't I start and kick us off?
That'd be great.
My favorite scene of the year comes from a film that didn't make my top 10, but I absolutely love this film. I've seen it twice already, and it's from No Other Choice, which I'm sure we'll talk at length more about in a moment. This is the scene where our main character is setting up his first elimination and ends up inside the home of a newly broken up couple who the husband realizes that his wife is cheating on him, and it's a perfect setup for the information that the audience has versus what the characters have. It has physical comedy.
It's basically like a slow motion assassination scene set to really loud music.
Yeah.
And it encapsulates the whole movie because it is thrilling, but also so fucking funny.
It is easily the funniest scene of the year.
My mouth was agape.
Yeah.
The
bumbling terror of it is awesome.
Yeah. It's I love the ineptitude of the main character, again, believing this is the concept of the film, no other choice, right? This is like manifest destiny. I have to have this job at all costs. And now you see how impossible things are set up against you when you try and work against the system, work against being fired, work against your boss, work against capitalism. It's total ineptitude and failure, which I think for a working class audience can be extremely relatable. Feeling helpless and feeling like, again, you have no other choice, or feeling like you have to do something extreme to get what you need to do. But no matter how much you want it, you might still end up with the gun under a bed and being clawed at by a married couple who also want to kill each other. Yeah, just an incredible scene. Also, the intricate setup of that is I don't even know how you start writing something like that. To me, it's incredible.
It's a tonal tightrope.
Yeah.
That could so easily not work.
Yeah,
could so easily be bad.
It could be schmaltzy. It could be too silly.
I think Park Chan-wook is one of the best that we have, and I suspect we might talk about the movie a little bit later.
Absolutely. Okay, what's your favorite scene of the year?
My favorite scene or favorite moment, I have a runner-up, which is the endless brawl in Splitsville that just keeps going and echoes They
I've
Live.
not seen Splitsville yet. But
This is awesome because I had a few scenes that I was going between, and you've mentioned both of them now. So
no.
I feel it's good because I feel like I can talk about more stuff now. But yes,
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's my runner-up of my favorite scene. But my favorite scene goes to a movie that is now the most nominated movie in Oscar history, and it's the kind of "I Lied to You" sequence in Sinners, where he's playing the music in the juke joint, and the generations of the oppressed kind of uniting through music kind of appears, and I love the kind of free-flowing aspect of the frame where it's all one shot.
Yeah.
the roof is on fire.
Yeah.
We have like 80s, DJs. We have like 2010 MCs. We have like just like the music opens up.
Right. You have
the
Chinese
history.
theater or troupe dancers happening, and it's just it was a really moving sequence. And I remember I was at the screening for it. My mouth again, another
Same.
scene that was agape, and just to connect and just resonate through just sound and vision and audio visuals. Nothing happening. It was a really powerful moment, and yeah, I think it's a scene that, again, encapsulates the movie, where it's conversations of America's color line and kind of dealing with that through music and passing
trauma.
on that history through storytelling and music. I think it's the best scene of the year for me, for sure.
I think it's so fitting that it's earlier on in the year because it literally set me up to be excited about film for the rest of the year. I didn't know much going into Sinners when I saw it in theaters. I had a friend recommend it to me, and we were both blown away by it. And it is incredibly fitting that it broke the nominations record. I don't care too much about award season or the Oscars or anything like that, but it's I think actually Adam Naiman said this in the podcast in my very first episode. We talked about, I asked him whether he cares about awards or anything like that, and he said that it's less about the specific films and more about like a State of the Union address of the film industry at large and how they want to be remembered for that year. And I think that's incredibly fitting, especially for the story of Sinners for the year past. So, yeah, totally amazing scene. How about you, Mark?
Yeah. Okay. So I had 3 scenes. They've all been mentioned.
No way. That's crazy.
No other choice. Mouth agape. Sinners, rewatched that last night, and I feel like that's where the movie just like hits another level,
sure.
levels up.
Did you find yourself waiting for that scene when you were rewatching it?
No, I was just
I'm guilty. I saw that movie 4 times in
Yeah.
theaters, and every time subsequent I was just waiting for that scene, and I started looking at who was watching it just to see their reaction.
Yeah.
I would have been, but I was just so enthralled in the movie. Splitsville, that's my choice for funniest movie of the year. Maybe we can transition if we have.
Yeah, why don't you talk about Splitsville?
Yeah, let me just talk about Splitsville for a second. Directed by Michael Angelo Covino. This is his second movie after The Climb, which also stars himself and Kyle Marvin. They're both these movies about friendship and testing the boundaries of friendship, infidelity. Splitsville has a very screwball comedy aspect. It's basically about this guy. He breaks up with his girlfriend, and then he finds out that his friend, played by the director, and his wife, played by Dakota Johnson, are in an open relationship, and he ends up sleeping with his friend's girlfriend and assumes everything's going to be cool, and it leads to basically a 10-minute extended fight scene of just 2 guys who are friends, who are trying to hurt each other, trying not to hurt each other, kind of alternating between these 2 things, trying to like clean up the mess that they're making in this house as they basically destroy this house during their fight. It's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, and I make that joke with the movie all the time. It's like the screwball-y aspect. It's like, forget about his Girl Friday. It's like everyone's Girl Friday.
Absolutely. Yes. No, really, really funny movie. I think actually this has been a great year for funny movies. A lot of the movies in my top 10 are very funny. A lot of the movies that aren't comedies are really funny.
Yeah.
But Splitsville as just like a romantic comedy that ends as a little bit of a slamming doors farce, honestly, maybe the funniest that I've seen.
Also, a big year at TIFF, but I think in general for movies coming out about open relationships. This conversation is I think modern dating is changing at a rapid pace. And I mean, I've been in a relationship for 7 years, so I'm not. No. Total opposite. I don't know anything about dating. I'm at a total loss. So watching it like through the looking glass or like at like an aquarium wall, it's kind of interesting to me. But I mean, like we've got Paying for It coming out. We have a Quebecois movie called Follies coming out soon. All kind of dealing with modern dating and dealing with open relationships, modern relationships. So find it fascinating to me. And
check out Splitsville.
Yeah, I should. I didn't see it because I absolutely despised and hated materialists and just got annoyed at Dakota Johnson that can look like.
I will say this is the first time that I've seen Dakota Johnson in a movie for a while and been like, oh, she's actually like a good actor.
Okay.
Although I did read.
No, I had a friend recommend it to me. I have to see it for sure.
I did read that someone was saying that the key to Dakota Johnson's star power is that you don't know whether or not she's a good actor, and it's like that tension.
That's funny.
Yeah, materialists. Movie made by aliens about.
Oh, it's disgusting.
I could do an
hate that
entire
movie.
episode on this. I was considering putting it in my disappointments, but I wasn't expecting it to be good.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too.
But we don't have to get.
No,
into
I have a whole
that
episode
hate fest on that.
talking with our music director Zach.
That's in my bottom 5 of the year, though. Unfortunately, I did like her previous film, which was called
Past Lives.
Oh.
But it felt like that one was like one she'd been working up to for a while and had like a lot of ideas, very personal. And this feels like
Her studio gig.
yeah, she's like, I know I
gig.
need to make like an A24 movie, just a romantic comedy without romance or comedy.
Another instance also of a director talking about a movie that's more interesting than the movie itself, because when she
A lot of people have been talking about the movie, and I'm like, I kind of want to see the movie you're talking about. Because it really feels like that's not the movie.
not just the movie that they're talking about, but the movie repeating what the director themselves talked about the movie. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically, it seems like she was very upset when people were like, this is broke boy propaganda and that sort of thing. Like, she's defending working class relationships. She's defending people who are underpaid and not paid a living wage, and especially
she's defending
arts.
choosing the most handsome man on earth, Chris Evans. As this is a movie about a woman who only knows 2 men in New York City, Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal, and must choose between them for some reason. But we don't need to get it. This is the best films of the year.
Yeah. Okay, what's your funniest film of the year?
My funniest film of the year is kind of an obscure pick, and I found myself laughing at it, but maybe I shouldn't have. But I actually found myself laughing a lot at Eddington.
Oh yeah,
Eddington is hilarious.
Yeah,
It's really funny. And when I saw it in theaters, it felt like it was like a healing laughter.
Exactly.
With seeing it, because we all went insane
we're
during
gonna talk
COVID.
about Eddington
For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Get to it.
But yeah,
very funny movie.
especially an incredibly funny movie for sure. Should we save it?
Yeah,
save
for
it.
sure,
Okay.
for sure.
What about you?
This another borderline, whether it's 2024 or 2025, but I'd say the movie I laughed at the most or found the most endearing and comedic was EFIS.
Wonderful movie.
I thought EFIS. I saw it in February of this year in a small town theater. Not even a theater. Like, it's a performing arts center in Natick, Massachusetts, called Center for Arts of Natick, which seated on fold-out chairs, which felt so EFIS. It felt like grassroots, community organized. Like, half the town probably didn't even know this thing existed, but it's important to a very niche and select group of people. And that was like the perfect way of seeing it on some small projector with like, ripples in the projector screen.
Basically, a movie about the last game of this, just sort of like, what do you call it? Exhibition
Beer league.
Beer league, yeah. Between these guys before the baseball diamond is ripped up to make way for a condo. And it's basically, it has kind of a surreal quality, but it's also just like a hangout, almost has a Richard Linklater quality.
Yes,
but
for
then
sure.
by the end of it, it turns into almost like a Goodbye Dragon Inn sort of elegy for just this third space they have, and they don't want this game to end, so they just keep playing for hours and hours. Really wonderful independent film that came out this year.
You can tell that the people who made it are having an absolute blast. That the dynamics between all of these characters feels so natural. And again, like, it is hilarious. There's physical comedy. There's, when you spend a lot of time watching sports, you forget what a normal human being is supposed to act and move and look like. And the athletics in EFIS are hilarious.
Yes.
And you could 100% picture yourself trying to catch a fly ball like that, like running backwards and tripping and falling into the mud or something along those lines. And
It's just about hanging out with your pals and cracking some beers.
Exactly.
And,
A beer with the boys can save your life.
100%.
Also, it's not about, like, for a sports movie, the narrative is not about the score. It's not about the competition. They never show a scoreboard once in the film. So yeah, I really love it. Oh, but specifically about it being hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. There's so many like dry bits, and they just up the satire and up the surrealism quality of it, especially near the end. Yeah.
Shout out to director Carson Lund, who is also the cinematographer. One of my favorite films of last year, which was Christmas Eve at Miller's Point. If y'all haven't seen that, big recommendation.
And
That's a big on my watch list.
Nice.
I'm glad you brought up Linklater, because he also has a baseball movie. He has Everybody Wants Some.
I love.
I thought you were talking about Bad
Everybody
News
Wants
Bears
Some.
for a second.
Oh yeah, but
Not a
also
bad
Bad
movie.
News Bears.
Everybody
That's
Wants
right.
Some is so good. It's like
Yeah.
Dazed and Confused for college
I love
bros
that.
in the 80s.
Yeah, but also, despite not explicitly showing a baseball game, I think they're coming off the diamond at some point. But it's not about the competition again. It's about the characters involved in highly competitive, bro-ish, masculine areas of society, but in a way that deconstructs it and shows the character and life behind it. And really love. I don't know. I'm talking about EFIS here, but it's a great comparison, I think. So, okay. Do we have any other categories before we move on to our top tens?
I'm good. I'm good to move on. I feel like we have done a nice survey of some of the films
Album
of
of
the
the year? No.
That was
Oh, yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Not a movie, but
Yeah, no. I think it's great for 2025 wrap up. Do you have an album of the year?
I've got a few, but I want to hear what you all say, kind of in the same way as the scenes.
I need to get the name of the album, but this is the album that I listen to the most, and it's Phonetics On and On by Horse Girl, which is an indie rock band. It's just great lyricism, a lot of kinetic energy that's it's so tight, and I love the drums and the vocal style in Phonetics On and On. I probably listened to that album 100 times over the years. So my album of the year.
I'll be very brief. Mine is Revenge Seekers by Jane Remover.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
Full frontal
Thank you for
assault. Yeah, full
introducing
frontal
Jane Remover to
assault
me.
on the senses. There's not an empty or negative space in that album, but what's crazy is how cogent it feels. It's all deliberate. There's a method to the badness. And
shout out Danny Brown's new album too.
yeah, which has crazy features on it also, and Danny Brown features on that album.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jane Remover, Revenge Seekers. I've been head bobbing to that album all year.
How about you?
I thought this was going to be said already, so I was saving it, but it does really feel like it was in a lot of ways the year of Cameron Winter, and I just got to shout out Geese getting killed. There's no song I listened to more this year than Ope You Do Cocaine.
There's a bomb in my car.
Sad boy music has reached a new level this year.
Yeah, but it's interesting the rise of their fame. I mean, like you had him playing Carnegie Hall and then
playing
Paul
SNL
Thomas
tonight.
Anderson.
All those and Benny Safdie.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that meme where it was like me at my sister's wedding and it's just a guy in pajama pants? And it's like me when when my boy's putting his shit on, and it's just like Paul Thomas Anderson with like a 70 millimeter
Is he like
camera.
the third youngest person ever to play under? Like, is it Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, and him? That's it.
Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe
Could be.
that sounds accurate.
We're gonna be hearing a lot more about him in the next couple of years. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I mean, both great albums. The solo heavy metal and
Yes, technically came out in the end of 2024,
That's right.
but too late to make a lot of best lists. So yeah, heavy metal. Also,
the
great,
albums
great
thing
record.
is great because there's no question what day that album came out.
right.
The music reviewers have it so easy for their year-end lists.
But it did miss a lot of lists, heavy metal, because it came out so late. It was kind of like
That's
when
true.
D'Angelo Black Messiah came out in the tail end of, I want to say
Rest in peace.
2014. Rest in peace to the GOAT.
Okay, yes, let's get into our list. I think we can start off with like one at a time, rapid fire honorable mentions that did not make the list. Let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna hit my 11 to 25 really fast.
Sure.
Because I had a top 25 of 25. So from in descending order from 25 to 11, Hard Truths by Mike Lee. It Was Just an Accident by Jafar Panahi. Avatar: Fire and Ash by James Cameron. I heard that. The Phoenician Scheme, Wes Anderson. Eddington, Ari Aster. Begonia, Yorgos Lanthimos. Reflection in a Dead Diamond by
I've been
Helen
meaning to see
Kate and Bruno Forzani. One of the most insane movies you'll ever see. Splitsville, Ephus. Bonjour Tristesse by Durga Chu Bose. Resurrection by Be Gone.
Love that movie.
The opening 30 minutes of that movie is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Caught by the Tides by Giajenka. Secret Agent by Kleber Mendoza Filho. Universal Language by Matthew Rankin. And Peter Hujar's Day by Iris X. I'm sure some of those will be talked about.
I love Iris X. Passages is an amazing movie.
Passages is so underrated. I recently rewatched Love is Strange as well. Iris X is one of the most humanist filmmakers.
For sure.
Okay, quick rundown. These are unordered, but I only have 7 honorable mentions to bring up here. The Secret Agent, To the Victory, which is a Ukrainian film that I saw at TIFF, and I thought it's a vital, important movie about what that life in Ukraine will look like after the war ends. It's a fictional depiction of life after Russian invasion ends. Dead Man's Wire, which is hilarious and great, and Bill Skarsgård is our new character actor. I love him. No Other Choice. Die My Love, which I don't know. I'm a Die My Love defender. I think that movie is awesome.
I caught the premiere of that at Paradise, which was awesome.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
It was awesome because you're at Paradise, so
I won't
Great.
say anything about Don Miller.
I absolutely love that movie. And The Love That Remains, which I'm a huge fan of Godland. So I was really, really looking forward to seeing a modern film of his with like real people and real issues, and I think he nailed it. And there's an incredible scene that hopefully won't get spoiled to you before you go see it. Go in completely blind, because the selling point is that it's beautiful Icelandic cinematography with incredible personal stories and acting, and nothing big happens, but there is one scene that is just absolutely unforgettable that like clicks the surrealism level to 1000, and it's mind-blowing. I love it. So yeah, we'll never forget that scene.
awesome. For me, I'd throw on 5 or 6 movies unordered. I have Roofman, Derek Cianfrance. I have Splitsville. I have Hamnet, which my opinion of that movie from when I first saw it to rewatch it has dropped a little bit, but I still have that there. I'm tired of Max Richter. Please retire, Max Richter. Weapons. I think it's my second favorite horror experience of the year, which is great. I have Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cloud, which I also loved. Return to form for him, I feel. I think one of his best movies since Pulse, maybe. And a movie that I feel like didn't get a lot of love out of Venice. It won the Golden Lion. I liked Father, Mother, Brother, Sister by Jim Jarmusch. A big fan of that movie. I think, again, it's another example of him saying a lot with very little. It's more than the sum of its parts. And I thought it was absolutely devastating. And I love Adam Driver and everybody in that movie, for sure.
That's one of the 3 or 4 movies I really wanted to see that I didn't get to see. Father, Mother, Sister,
Yeah, I
Brother.
didn't get to see that either.
Along with Testament of Anne Lee, kind of these movies that are like on the line between 2025, 2026 releases. But huge Jarmusch fan, so looking forward to catching up with that.
Okay. Okay, drum roll. Sorry, just one sec.
So how we're going to do this is we're going to name the movie, and if someone else has it higher on their list, they will say, I have that on my list, and we'll wait until we get to that higher number to actually fully discuss the movie. I feel like there's going to be a lot of passing in our first
For sure,
go-around.
which is totally fine.
great.
I think this setup allows people to, well, first of all, we don't have all the time in the world, but also it allows us to talk about it together if it's on your list.
And
So-
if they place your movie too low on their list, you're qualified to execute them. I feel.
yeah, for sure,
Totally.
for sure. I mean, again, these are all movies that we love, so getting caught up in the rankings is it's
It
not
is
worth it.
pretty arbitrary. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these.
Number
in my,
one is important, right?
My
That-
top 5 are pretty locked.
Yeah.
And then there could have been a lot of movies that I just named. Peter Hujar's Day made it onto my top 10 a couple times because I just want to live in that movie.
Yeah.
But there's, again, I just thought there were so many good movies this year. All right,
Sure.
who's going to start with number 10?
Okay, why don't I kick us off?
Let's do it.
I'm gonna kick us off, and I'm gonna name "If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You." Is that on anyone's list?
No,
That is on my list higher.
Okay,
missed my top 30.
okay, that's okay.
Interesting.
I'll pass it. So what's your number 10?
My number 10 is Lurker by Alex Russell.
That is not on my list.
That is not on my list.
Okay, why don't you
I'm
tell
the
us about
only
Lurker?
champion of Lurker. I love this movie a lot. I think it's examination of kind of the toxic economy of fame, transactional relationships, whatnot, and it really recalls kind of King of Comedy with its kind of look at those relationships. But what I really loved about it was I'm gonna butcher his name, but Theodore Pellerin. I think that sneakily is probably the best performance of the year for me. I think unsung, but it was fantastic, and I was lucky enough to interview him for Range, which was awesome. But the reason I think the movie works so well, and I think it's a story we've always seen, kind of the stalker, obsessive plot or whatnot, is that the character feels wholly lived in. He's never exaggerated. It's about his implicities, his subtle inflections. And the scary part when you watch it is that you get a sense that this person is not, or this kind of person, or this persona is not in the minority, but very much in the majority. And it's like, how many people do I know like this person? How many have I been this person at times?
About a guy who kind of gets into the orbit of a rising
Pop star. Yes.
I almost thought of like maybe like The Weeknd when he was like on the come up.
Exactly.
Guy works at a clothing store and ends up playing a song that
He manufactures a meet cute.
he manufactured me with this
him.
with this star. Yeah.
Um,
I have no comment on this.
I
movie.
loved it, and I feel like if it released maybe at a different point of the year, because it was on the tail end of summer, and then
For movie, right?
It's a movie release, yeah. And I was a big fan of this movie. I've revisited it multiple times, and the performance still glues me. So I'm excited to see what comes from Theodore Pellerin.
Nice.
And yeah, it was great. And the soundtrack is killer. I mean, the soundtrack's awesome. So yeah, it's up there. It was vying for weapons for me to get in my top 10, but went with the crazed lunatic instead of the multiple crazed lunatics. So.
Mark, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is The Mastermind by Kelly Reichardt.
That is on my list as well, coming
All
up
right.
next. So
Go ahead.
Why don't we can start
Let's do
this
it.
conversation, because number 9 for me is The Mastermind by Kelly Reichardt. I thought it's first of all, I'm from New England, born in Montreal, but I was raised in New England. I have such an affinity for northeastern sentiment and just like passive aggressiveness, but also the warmness that comes with the community of New England. So the fact that it takes place quite literally 5 minutes away from my hometown in Framingham, Massachusetts, is
Wow.
just like, it was like overwhelming to see how beautifully shot and how much care and love is taken in. And I mean, this is Kelly Reichardt special, is that care and love and gentleness, but also an underlying bleakness about the state of affairs in the world, and obviously the backdrop of Vietnam War happening in the background and activism happening in the background.
So this is a film about the titular character, which I believe is a quite an ironic title, played by
sure.
the great Josh O'Connor, who I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
Basically is a guy who's living just sort of a normal sort of suburban life, has wife, has a couple kids. His father's a circuit court judge, and he decides to rob a museum of some paintings.
As one does.
As one does. This has a lot of the... it seems to be a little bit of a thriller. I wouldn't say it's a deconstruction of a thriller, but it's like kind of one of Kelly Reichardt's slow motion thrillers.
Yeah.
But it's also just a character study about this guy, because when you're watching it, the big question of this movie is, why is this guy doing it?
Yeah.
Because usually in a lot of these movies where someone, breaks the law, like whether it's Roofman or something like that, there's some sort of financial, imperative to like make money. There's none in this case. He just sort of does it. His mother is willing to give him money to like actually do something straight, but he's just kind of a very disaffected character who doesn't really seem to care about anything, doesn't care about, being a good dad, and because he's constantly doing shady stuff in front of his kids, doesn't care about his wife, doesn't tell her about that he's going to do this crime. As it immediately unravels,
Right.
he seems to have he's completely hapless, has no idea what to do, and just sort of drifts along. Kelly Reichardt's one of my favorite filmmakers. I recently talked about one of my favorite movies, Old Joy, on a wonderful podcast called Seeing Faces in Movies with Felicia Maroney. And this movie did not disappoint. It's funny, it's sad, it's very, very, has a very keen eye, as you were saying. And yeah, it's a story of just a guy who kind of believes in nothing. Like you said, the Vietnam War is going on behind him, and he doesn't seem to be interested or cognizant of it whatsoever.
But I think the ending, I'm going to be vague about this because I encourage people to see this film, but I think the ending wraps that up beautifully, because he's caught in a demonstration and arrested, and that's how his life basically unravels at the end, because now they're going to find out. They're going to book him. They're going to prosecute him for his theft, and he almost got away with it. That's the beauty. But when you kind of
I wouldn't say he almost gets. It falls apart immediately.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I'm saying
the next day, the cops are already like at his house.
But he does. I mean, if he wanted to throw his life away and totally escape, he could have ran away or gone to Canada like he was planning to.
He doesn't seem to have any remorse at all. At the very
Right.
end, not at the very end, but near the end of the movie, he calls his wife, and he finally apologizes, and we're like, oh my God, are we seeing a little bit of interiority from this guy?
Right.
But it's only to then ask her for some money so he can
Right.
go to the next town. A guy who really believes in nothing.
Yeah.
It seems a very, very interesting film.
But
Is it sneakily one of the best character studies of the year?
I would say yes.
think so.
I would say absolutely yes.
Yeah, it was a blind spot for me. It's one I missed, and it's one I hate that I missed, because I'm a big Kelly Reichardt fan. I love First Cow, Meek's Cutoff, Wendy and Lucy, all of that work. So it was annoying that I missed it. And also, I think its theatrical release was so limited as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Right? I think it opened, first in Montreal before it even got to Toronto. So it was an interesting, vague kind of release. But it's on my list, and you guys are making me want to watch it even more. So
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
and then the camera is just so hazy. I love that. It feels like
has
a
that 70s
dream.
grain to
Yeah,
it, or
yeah,
that
yeah.
grit.
Also has a return to like a jazzy score.
Yes,
that
the score is so good.
Kelly Reichardt used
Oh
in
man,
her
you guys
first
are
movie.
giving me FOMO here.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called. Oh geez. Well, her first movie has a jazzy score, but it's completely different from that one. That one kind of has like a post Tarantino sort of vibe to it, and this one is like the jazzy score almost is contrapuntal to how like slow and like not organized.
Is it kind of like an
movie is.
Altman-esque kind of vibe to it?
I-
Long
I-
Goodbye-ish?
I think Josh O'Connor, it could be a placeholder for Elliot Gold, so, for sure.
Okay,
Absolutely,
I'm getting FOMO now.
wonderful movie.
Okay, so that's your number 10. What's your number 9?
My number 9. That's a great question. My number 9 is, speaking of Richard Linklater, Richard Linklater's Blue Moon.
The
Okay.
right Richard Linklater.
Thank
pick.
you.
Is that
It's not on my list.
okay? So you can go ahead and because it's not on my list either. But I thought it was great.
Man, talking about want to live inside of the movie. I absolutely adore this movie. It is, you could say when you're describing it, it sounds very stagey, and in a sense it is. It's like a single location drama. It's about Lorenz Hart, who was part of the famous songwriting duo Rodgers and Hart, who have made a lot of songs, but one of them is Blue Moon. And it's basically about the opening night of Oklahoma.
God, I hate that musical.
So does Lorenz Hart. Which was basically the first time that Richard Rodgers worked with Oscar Hammerstein, and it was sort of the end of Rodgers and Hart and the beginning of Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yep.
And maybe the performance of the year, honestly, by Ethan Hawke. The amount of forced perspective they do to make. It's like basically like the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like to make Ethan Hawke seem like so diminutive, but it's basically like just him kind of monologuing, and it's tracking sort of the end of his career and sort of the end of his life, but him, and the hurt he feels from not being working with Rodgers anymore, and knowing that the first time that Richard Rodgers worked without him was going to be his biggest hit and like one of the biggest musicals
It's
of all
one of the
time.
most enduring works as well.
So it's him. It's Bobby Cannavale as a bartender.
A great
It
bartender.
is Margaret Qualley as a woman that Lorenz Hart is foolishly in love with. He's described or describes himself. No, he's described in the movie as like one of the great appreciators of beauty, and I definitely relate to that. But funny, sad, touching. Just movie. It took the first watch I really liked it, but the second watch I just absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Just it's like a great play, but shot extremely cinematically, and it has a huge place in my heart.
Yeah. Only Linklater could make conversations feel like you're entering a flow state.
Totally.
For sure.
And I echo everything you said. I just think that the minute-to-minute conversations, the cadence, you get sucked up in each conversation.
You learn more about Hart and like why his relationship with Rodgers fell apart. You see the wit. You can see why people are drawn to him, but also just like the alcoholism and the sadness that sort of and the I can't remember the word, but he's not a good person to work with, basically.
And I like when I left the movie. I've only seen it once. I'm guilty. I'm not a big fan as you, but what I left with is like, what a gorgeous ode to failure, to being second place.
Totally.
So I really, really, really loved that.
Also, the
film.
pacing as this bar fills up with more and more people to celebrate Rodgers' great success, and we are preempted first by all these conversations that Hart is having with the bartender, and we learn all of this about him, and he feels like that great figure because he's respected but not known. Like the piano player is unsure whether he knows him or not, or
Everybody wants him to introduce them to Richard Rodgers.
Right.
And he constantly talks about how he's throwing a party at his house the same night as Richard Rodgers' like Oklahoma party. And he's talking how it's going to be the best party, but then the ending of the movie almost reminds me of the ending of Before Sunset. I won't give it away too much, but he's going to miss that party. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Oh man, amazing.
Okay, what's your number 9, Prab?
My number 9 is a film I think you've already mentioned, but it's Jafar Panahi's It Was Just an Accident. Is that on your list?
Not on my list.
Okay, yeah, so we can talk about it. I was really struck by the film. I think its relevance is only growing now in the wake of what's happening in Iran at the same time. But and also I was lucky enough to interview Panahi for TIFF for Range, and that was a conversation that was really, really heady. I mean, to hear kind of what he's been through just through his voice, his inflections was amazing.
He filmed this movie like in secret. Right?
And he talked about a lot of the time that when he was trying to film or make the movie, that a lot of the security guards or whatnot would come and try to shut down the production and threaten the production and threaten crew members that if you work with him, you'll never be able to work and film in this country again or whatnot.
Crazy.
But what really struck me about the film, just a little bit about it, it's about, I forget the character names, but it's about an auto mechanic who is struggling or reeling from being oppressed or persecuted by the regime and was a prisoner for a long time, and he believes he has found the person who had persecuted him in
one
prison.
Of his captors,
one of his torturers. Yep, and he nabs him and is convinced that it's him, but then
not convinced enough.
Right.
Yes,
So he has to go find a bunch of his friends
who were also captured,
and just to sort of identify him.
And I think that's where the film's kind of realist, it's a realist screwball comedy in a sense. Where
It really is a great mixture of tones because it definitely has a thriller element to it. But yeah, like you said, it's also like a slapstick comedy. As all these people kind of come in, they're like, "Where is he? Like, can I see him?" and stuff. They say like, "Oh, I'm not sure. Like, should we go get him?" It's almost like a road trip kind of thing.
Yeah, and is what really stuck with me is that, you know, films about revenge or stories about revenge usually fall into two camps, right? Either revenge is evil or forgiveness is virtuous, right? And I think this film really rises above those kind of surface level inclinations to craft not only like the reckoning with kind of the scars of the regime, but its spiritual toll. You know, it's not only physical, it's not only mental, it's spiritual. It's something that can linger from generations onwards. And I think the conversations that it has, right? What is justice? You know, does one evil justify another, or whatnot, right? And so the conversations that you're forced to have as it sifts through these kind of various interactions and conversations or whatnot kind of blurs that line between personal or systemic kind of trauma. And I found it fascinating, and I really, really, really loved it. And I want to, in rewatching and going through it, I think it's one of the more important films.
When you described it to me at TIFF, because I didn't get to see it at TIFF, but you called it a slick moral tale, and I think that's an excellent way of describing it. If you just want to see, like, if you want to feel contentious inside about what right and wrong is, about revenge and holding grudges, it's an excellent movie for that. Everyone you talk to will have a different take about how you would have handled it, whether or not people deserve what's coming to them or not, and about forgiveness. And yeah, so I think
it pops a question to me that do you two find the film very political? Do you think it's very politically ingrained or has a political ambition?
Oh, undoubtedly.
Yes. This is a movie I wish I had seen a second time. I was hoping to catch up with it again because I don't feel like I have that much cogent to say about it. But it does seem like, you know, it's grappling with that.
You know, one person who would disagree with you is Jafar Panahi, who in the interview said that it is not a political film. He's like, I make social films, I make social dramas or social comedies or whatnot.
Like him making it is the political act.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but it's very interesting to say that he considers himself not a political filmmaker, but a socially engaged filmmaker. Which
He's
is
a humanist.
Yeah, and whether or not you disagree with his take on the film, I think its power remains. So.
Yeah, I guess you would, if you're considering it political, that means that it's trying to change something, or it's trying to engage with one political stance or another. Maybe not. Maybe he is literally just observing and seeing this is how people behave in Iran. This is what the underlying tension and anger is. And that's the social element or humanist element, and not the politically engaged element where he's an activist or something like that. I doubt he would call himself that.
Well, it feels like a very personal film because, you know, he was imprisoned. He has been, you know, sanctioned by the government for making films and everything. He had to make, this is not a film in secret and like put it into a cake to
Classic
be screened
story
at the Cannes Film Festival and stuff. So it feels like it's him reckoning with stuff that he has going on inside.
And that's funny you mentioned that, because one of the things that really got to me when I spoke to him was that he said all of the people you see in the movie are people I've met, either in prison or I've heard about in prison secondhand. And so it's like, and you feel that. It's a very lived-in experience. And I think that's what I appreciate the most about it.
Okay, number 8 now, right?
Yes.
Okay, I will start us off. I have one battle after another in number 8. Is that in any of your guys' lists?
Yes.
Definitely, yes.
Okay. Number 8 for you.
My number 8 is On Becoming a Guinea Fowl by Rungano Nioni.
Huge blind spot for me. Have not seen it, unfortunately, but it's not on my list then.
I forget, was it at last year's TIFF or was it this year's TIFF?
It was not this year's TIFF.
It was so I caught it last year's TIFF and I completely have forgotten everything about it.
No
so
worries.
Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically it is about, it takes place in Zambia. It's about a woman named Shula. When we first see her, she's in a car. She's wearing, you know, a really cool outfit, but in the context of her sitting in a car, it has this surreal quality to it.
Kind of Phantom of the Paradise-esque.
Yeah, she's so dressed up, and she's sitting in the middle of this car in a dark road, and we are sort of things are revealed to us very slowly. There's a dead body on the ground. She doesn't seem that affected by it. You know, she's calling her parents. Turns out, like, it's her uncle. You know, there's contention between her and the family. She doesn't seem emotionally wrecked about it. Her cousin comes by at a certain point. She's drunk out of her mind. There's obviously some tension between her and her cousin. She won't let her in the car. We don't really know what's going on. It has a pretty surreal and funny quality to it, but which continues throughout the movie. But as the movie progresses further and further, and I really don't want to get too much into the plot because I really would like people to see this and sort of experience it for themselves. But you learn more about the uncle, you learn more about the family dynamics, and it goes from being surreally funny to being very sad to being extremely, extremely powerful. And not to give it away, but by the time the title of the movie on becoming a guinea fowl comes into focus in the last 20 minutes of the movie, it has an enormous emotional wallop. Rungano Nyoni also directed I Am Not a Witch a couple years ago, and she's definitely a filmmaker to watch.
Sweet. Okay, and number 8?
For me is it's Oliver Lachey's Seurat.
Okay.
On your
Not
list?
on my list.
Not
no.
on my list.
Yeah, I've heard a lot. I think I'm the only one from my close circle that's championing this movie as much
liked
as
it.
me.
It was on the film comment top 10 list of 2025. So.
There you go. I'm in good standing there. But just a little bit about the movie. It's I mean, there's not much of a plot, but it's about a father who goes into the desert of Morocco to look for his daughter who's gone missing, and she's really very much ingratiated with the techno raving subculture, and then he
has his young son with him as well.
Yep.
Who's dragging through the desert. They seem very not prepared for
completely
for where
out of
they
place.
It becomes revealed kind of slowly. I didn't quite get it at first, but it's supposed to be kind of post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
It's
so
in
like
the middle of kind of like a war zone, and the fact that people are still raving in this thing. It gave me a little bit of Nova Fest vibes, but continue.
Yeah, but that aspect of it is what I gleaned onto, because I think it's one of the few movies that kind of gets that raving subculture right. When in so many movies it's kind of the punchline of a joke or caricatures, I think it understands that feeling. I myself am a raver. I love techno, electronic, house music, so I am very much in that sphere as well. But it understands that the process or that culture really is dance. Is it an act of submission, or is it an act of recognition of the madness of the world, right? And I think that sentiment really baked into the film, and I really found it an audio-visual trance. I mean, I don't think I moved from my chair or moved much. I was in a trance throughout the whole film, and I kind of gave in to the movie's cadence like these ravers are giving in to kind of their surroundings of the world.
It's been described as like house music sorcerer.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It is very much.
It becomes kind of like a thriller.
And you're
at a certain
subjected to
point.
your environment, which is hellish and
Yes.
not fit for human life.
Incredibly well directed. I would like to see it again. The twists and turns of it, I felt were a little bit mechanical for me, even though there is a shot from the movie that I will absolutely never forget for the rest of my life. It feels like something horrible has happened to me. Like I have memory of it as like a trauma in my life.
Yeah, and I like the movie as kind of as an I'm forgetting the word, but a symbolism or kind of I'm forgetting the word here.
Metaphor.
I forgot.
You can look it up.
What's the word? I'm forgetting it. It's I guess metaphor. Let's just go with metaphor. But it's a metaphor as a kind of like a purgatorial odyssey or whatnot that these characters are being judged, right? They're practically on the path, right? And Seurat translates to the path, right?
Oh, wow.
Between paradise and hell, and these people are being judged, right? And what are they being judged for, right? And one conversation I had with a friend who didn't like the movie, but he brought up something interesting is that, you know, like, I don't understand, these are just some like these white people who are in this country that they have no understanding of, right? And I'm like, maybe they're being judged for that. People who are escaping to this area of the world that has experienced a lot of colonialism and they don't have any understanding of it, maybe they're being judged for that. So I think the movie says a lot without actively hinting at it or whatnot. And I think it's
it implies a lot, which I found frustrating about the movie, because I think the conversations that it's trying to have about found families is very interesting, because it's two a father and a son looking for their daughter versus a bunch of misfits and people who found each other through this subculture living together in an RV.
Who have a little bit of a Mad Max kind of quality.
Exactly.
To them.
I mean, one person is missing a limb. It's
Yeah.
like, did you already get blown up by something random in the desert?
I just feel like the whole aspect of like the post-apocalyptic and the war going on, I wish that had been extrapolated a little bit because I found
It's implied more than.
Yeah, it's very much implied.
But and I found the word, I realized what the word I'm looking for is allegory.
Allegorical.
Yeah, I think the whole movie is allegory. I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
From the opening moments, or if a little bit into it, it's never about finding the daughter. It's about having a larger conversation. And any movie whose title pops up 30 minutes in, it's in. I mean, it's going to be
love that.
great.
It's one of the most divisive movies of the year.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but I'm compelled to see it again, and it
All of
does
my-
seem like the kind of thing that I might like on a.
All of my friends hated it. I'm the only champion, but here I am.
So I'm halfway, but I do wonder if, because I saw it at home, I did not see it in theaters. I wonder, and I don't know how much we care about this sort of thing, but how much the theater experience would have changed my perspective of this movie, given the fact that it's musical production and thumping, loud bass.
I think it deserves
and
to
quality.
be heard loud.
That's
for-
what I
for
feel
sure.
like. I might have missed some of the impact, but I did give myself the best shot by blasting it in my headphones.
Yeah. Oh, we played it very loud at my friend's house on a very nice 55-inch OLED, and
Oh, that's awesome.
I
But-
caught it. I
but
caught
you
it
see
at
what
a
I mean?
TIFF press screening. So yeah,
Very
that
nice.
experience
in the
really
theaters
was.
and surround sound would have, I think, made me feel like I was on this journey with them. So, and we're back. Let me get this out on the record.
let me get ahead of this before.
Yeah, before I get canceled or something. I like Surratt. I think my experience would have been elevated if I saw it in theaters, which I don't think is a fair assessment of the movie, which is what we're doing here. I think it's the problem with my experience and my bias going into it, that I just have a feeling that I would have enjoyed it more if I had experienced it in a theater setting, which doesn't go for a lot of films. I have a pretty good setup. I like how I watch movies.
I just find it slightly manipulative without
Offering much.
without offering much for me. But again,
That's fair.
that could be remedied by a second one.
Yeah, I felt that cold lens though is the whole point. I mean, you're being judged by God. No, you don't hear anything back.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. They're alone in this post-apocalyptic hellscape. I feel it. I liked it. So don't.
Hey, produced by Pedro Almodovar,
Nice.
Oh yeah.
who helped his fellow Spaniard. Well,
Okay, number 7. Wait, did I number 7? Number 7. 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 7. Sinners.
that's my number 7 too.
It's on my list.
Okay, so we'll keep it moving.
Yeah.
So Sinners, number 7.
Vulcan Isadora by Joel Petrakis.
I have never heard of this.
I've heard of this movie and it's on my watch list, and I
What's it
always
called?
keep
Sorry.
skipping it.
Vulcan Isadora. So this is by Joel Petrakis, Michigan filmmaker, who has made some of my favorite independent films of the last 10 years, including Buzzard, Relaxer, and The Alchemist Cookbook. This is actually operates as a direct sequel to Buzzard, though you don't actually have to have seen Buzzard, but I strongly, strongly recommend you do. That is one of the most compulsively watchable movies. It's about a dude who's basically like just a petty criminal who like works as a temp at a bank, but just like spends his time, trying to rip off Staples by doing returns and like calling, the number on the back of the pizza box to get a free pizza and stuff like that. I also program at Eyesore Cinema under Waste of Taste, and I showed 3 by Petrakis, 3 of his early movies, got him to do director intros for them, so he's an awesome dude. This is his darkest movie. I hesitate, once again, to say too much about it. It's about 2 men who are friends who go to the forest to accomplish a task. It's very dark. It's very, very funny. The last 30 minutes are surprisingly like really touching. The movie goes in a direction that you will not expect. I will say that the cover of the original poster is based off of Faces of Death, the documentary of like real people getting killed.
I recognize it's like a robotic-esque
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
almost
poster.
like sort of like a GIMP mask with like thing. Anyway, I don't want to get too much about it. I think Joel Petrakis is one of our most exciting filmmakers. This movie was absolutely buried when it played here in Toronto. Played at the what's it called? The Fox Theater for like 1 week.
Wow.
I hope to get it playing. I'm going to try to see if I can get it playing at the Paradise at some point, along with Buzzard. Maybe we can get Joel to come out for it. But yeah, this is not to be missed. I strongly recommend watching Buzzard beforehand. It's only 80 minutes long. I think this movie is 85 minutes.
Sweet.
So yeah, he's a true original, and this is unlike other movies we've seen this year, starring Josh Burge, who is also in his other movies, Relaxer and Buzzard. Watch all these movies. That's all I can say. I don't want to ruin any of them for you.
When I looked it up, turns out it's on my watch list, which is an endless abyss of movies that I need to see.
Of course.
But
I hope this is
so I have heard of
the
it.
impetus to.
Everything we've mentioned today that I haven't seen yet, including Splitsville, including this film right now. I need to see it before I get overwhelmed with 2026 releases, which is overwhelming to
Love
think
it.
about.
Yeah.
Okay, then number 6. Prab, why don't you start us off?
My number 6 is Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice.
Not on my list.
This is on my list.
Okay. My number 6 is Blue Heron.
Not on my list. Might have been on my list if I had opened my definition of what's a 2025 movie, but I did see it at TIFF.
I'm sorry about that. There is
You don't have to be sorry at all.
There are a couple more that are kind of on the borderline because I saw them at festival, but I have to talk about
it.
the 3 of those that are kind of borderline movies, but it's fine, especially my number 1. Blue Heron is I hesitate to describe it like everyone else is calling it, the After Sun, the Canadian After Sun.
I've heard that a bunch.
It's pretty reductive, but I think it speaks to a sort of
Aesthetic.
an aesthetic and a subtlety in filmmaking where it's like, especially for most of the movie, I feel like the last 20 minutes not quite as much. Kind of announces what it's about a little bit more, but yeah, talk a little bit more about it.
It joins a number of films that came out this year, After Sun, of filmmakers, especially women directors who are looking back on their childhood and memories of growing up. I talked to Siyu Lan, who directed Amoeba, which is a movie about Singaporean schoolgirls, and they are recording their lives on a mini DV camera. These old tech ways of recording our lives that aren't through the lens of our phones that everyone has. I mean, the idea of memories, digital memories captured on big handheld camcorders that you can't even hide that you have it, right? So there's like a scene in I'm talking a lot about no, you're good. I'm talking a lot about another movie to refer to Blue Heron, but there's the scene where these girls smuggle in like this little handheld camcorder, and that idea is just lost on, I guess, how we would capture memories today.
It's fragile. It's fleeting.
It's so different, and it's also like you can't like hide it like you can with your phone. I mean, the idea that so many of our memories or so many things that could happen, like you're always at risk of being recorded if you're just being yourself. That comes up all the time. But with Blue Heron, the main character, the little girl Sasha, is interpreting her life as a young kid. She's like 6 years old and doesn't quite understand the difficulties that her family is going through as new arrivals to Canada.
It has a lot to do with her brother, who seems to be, emotionally disturbed in some way, and sort of like the family dealing with him and his needs, and maybe not quite so much with her own needs. She ends up being just kind of an observer to a lot of this.
Right. And it's a quiet and extremely subtle observer that is pushed through a lens of confusion and uncertainty and instability, because they go off and have a family vacation at one point, and go see this blue heron, and they're at some nature reserve, and suddenly the brother is nowhere to be found. And these moments of stability to instability and fragility and often even violence at some point in the film are the lens through which future Sasha, at some point in the movie, has to process this trauma and process this emotions. And at some point in the movie, they bring in real social workers and ask them to interpret the story that they've just told in this movie. And so there's a fascinating combination, like almost F for Fake-esque quality of bringing in the real life and interpreting fictional trauma with real people. And they are all actors, but they learned from real social workers, and they did a lot of work to make this as realistic as possible.
It also reminds me a little bit of The Souvenir, even though it's not explicitly about a filmmaker. You see in this kind of autobiographical tale by Sofia Rumvari, you see her as this character who's like observing.
Yeah.
And you kind of see how her eye develops and how like what maybe made her interested in becoming a filmmaker to begin with.
Yeah.
But again, it's extremely subtle. It's just the fact that like she is not given as much attention as her brother, and she ends up just kind of being like she's recording these things almost like in her memory, almost like as
well, the camera is like is sublimating her memory.
Absolutely.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this isn't a fully complete thought, but it joins a number of films like After Sun. There's a scene in After Sun where she's recording her father with the same type of camera too. I don't know what it says about it, but
I like how you started with like, I don't think that it's like After Sun like everyone's saying, and you're like, by the way, also After Sun.
It's
definitely
true. I am.
After Sun.
That's
They're
exactly
companion pieces in a
Yeah.
sense. Right?
They definitely like it, about a woman filmmaker looking back on her.
I mean, Sophie
childhood
mentioned
and-
in the screening that I went to that she was like didn't know how to process when she heard about After Sun, that it's coming out and this is what it's about. Like, didn't know how to process that information.
Truly.
Which is, I don't feel bad. I think this movie is going to stand out on its own. I think it's, she's going to have to hear those comparisons, but it's not to her detriment at all.
I think it's a good thing because people love After Sun.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that'll get some eyes on it.
It's a very respected film. There's not
100%.
many After Sun haters out there.
I really liked the movie. I'm not sure how I feel about the last 10 minutes of it. That little meta aspect where it kind of changes sort of what it's about. At the end, it sort of changes the perspective a little bit. It almost felt like too... I don't know what to say. Too meta, too clinical. It like removed me from the emotional. Like I was feeling
That's
such
fair.
emotion, and it made it a little bit too cerebral at the end for me. But I probably will feel differently on a second watch. That's going to be my new catchphrase for this episode. Like, probably would like that more if I saw it again. But really, really strong debut.
Yeah, it's an
A
incredible
debut feature. Her shorts, obviously, you could see some of them on Criterion probably still. Yeah, really, really distinct voice in Canadian film.
Yeah, there's so much talent baked into it, and excited to see what Sophie comes up with next. But specifically Blue Heron, there's another film at TIFF, 100 Sunset, that did it. I didn't really enjoy that film that much, but it does a similar thing where the main character, autobiographical film in nature, but the main character is recording a lot of her life through this camcorder. I don't know what it says about this tech, that we're going back and these filmmakers are processing memories through the lens of
Dead tech.
Exactly. And what does that say about the new wave of filmmakers making autobiographical films about their childhood, about their memory, and that is what they remember, are the memories captured through camcorders and through these old technologies. And I wonder...
Mediated memories.
I wonder what it's going to look like when Gen Z filmmakers make films about high school experiences captured through an iPhone 6. You know what I mean? Or something along those lines.
It's interesting because it's memory as kind of a digital dream, but now
it's a good way of
this
putting it.
is living, so there's no way of losing it. But there's like a fleeting fragility to those memories where you could miss it.
There's also an aspect of the capture on these camcorders is alone and in a vacuum because it's not connected to the internet inherently. Like even if you don't upload anything that you captured, it has metadata embedded in it. It has location data. It's just so different from the older tech that is purely your own. I think you could say.
It's gonna be like a panopticon kind of thing when we look back. It's gonna be almost like
gonna be.
I just mean like the movies themselves. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like told from like the perspective of like everyone's camera,
everyone else's camera.
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the thing. It doesn't feel like your memories are your own. Or I think
there's a performativeness that's
of course because you could always be recorded.
Yeah.
You could always like if you're being weird, per se, or you're being different. There's some risk or element of social shame that comes with it, and I think part of the reason I clicked so heavily with with all of the films that I've mentioned that kind of fit this theme is there's a level of naivety or innocence with the recordings, and I think that's what I remember most about Blue Heron and why I love that film so much. Yeah, I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, who's up next? Number 6?
Yeah, my number 6 is No Other Choice. I think it's
on my list. Yeah.
What's your number 6?
My number 6 is 7 Walks with Marc Brown.
Okay, haven't heard of this.
The first one I haven't heard of.
Okay, wonderful. So this is a documentary. It's a very, very simple documentary. The first half of the movie basically follows these.
Also on my watch list.
Amazing. Follows these 7 walks with Marc Brown. Marc Brown is a paleobotanist. So they take 7 hikes across Normandy. The first half of the movie, it's told by a different camera that is showing another camera shooting these plants. So they're all going just to film these plants, right? But we see this process of them walking through. We see them filming the plants. We don't see what they're filming. And we do see the plant like a little bit, but it's mostly just like them walking, and Marc Brown is kind of rhapsodizing about certain the flowers and everything. And you're like, okay, this is interesting. And it goes through these 7 walks. And then the second half of the movie are the shots from the camera of these flowers. It's just close-up shots of flowers. And again, with Marc Brown talking about them. And when you watch the first half of the movie, you're like, oh, is he going to have that much to talk about in the second half? Because it seems like he's saying a lot. But it's completely different. It's in French, but he has the most beautiful, calming voice you've ever heard. The shots of the flowers are mesmerizing. And he talks about why it's important to film them with motion picture cameras rather than just still photography, because the moving, the dancing, the things happening on the flower, like it shows like how alive it is. You only get the full picture of it. I'm not like I don't know that much about plants. This was not like a movie that I was like expecting really to like blow me away or anything. But it was just so beautiful, so simple. And I love that cinema can be something like No Other Choice, which is like the most loud, bombastic, mix of genres.
Flair.
So much flair.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And something as simple as just like recording people looking at flowers, recording people recording flowers.
We're going to hold on to that thought too, because my number 1 matches very, very well with this conversation.
That's all I have to say about that. 7 Walks.
We'll bring it back
Brown.
up. I hope you've seen the film I'm going to talk about for number 1.
Maybe.
Okay.
Number 5?
Number 5, yeah.
Okay, my number 5 is Ari Aster's Eddington.
That is on my list.
Okay.
So we can hold off.
Nice.
And this shouldn't happen too much more because we're reaching number 5.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Okay. Your number 5?
My number 5 is Sentimental Value by Joachim Trier.
Okay, not on my list.
I enjoyed it, but not on my list.
Okay. Yeah, this one has been a little bit divisive. I feel like when The Worst Person in the World came out, everybody absolutely loved it. And some people that I expected to like this movie a little bit more were a little lukewarm on it. I think that it's been seen a little bit as like Oscar bait. Or at least in like the terms of the Joachim Trier catalog, it's like the most it's the most Oscar film. It's also been, sort of unfavorably compared to like an Olivier Assayas movie, like The Clouds of Sils Maria, which definitely does have a lot of similarities with. So it is not a perfect movie. It's about an actress played by Renate Reinsve, who is nominated for Best Actress, who's also fantastic in The Worst Person in the World, and she's basically a stage actress who, when her mother dies, her father, who is basically this kind of, I would say like Bergman, Lars von Trier-esque director, who she has an estranged relationship with. He comes back into the life of her and her sister, and basically decides that he is going to take back possession of the house that he is their childhood home that Renate's sister is living in. I should probably have the character names open in front of me. And he wants to make a movie in this house and basically kind of kick his daughter out of the house. So he is this like very sort of selfish,
overbearing,
but
absent at the same time. Like it's a very interesting dynamic.
Father, and he wants to work with his daughter. Basically, he wants her to be the lead of this movie that's like loosely inspired by his own mother. Anyway, there are things about this movie that shouldn't quite work. The movie within the movie that they're making, I'm not 100% convinced is actually going to be good. Kind of ends with like a suicide that I'm not quite sure how it fits.
It has the Scandinavian detachment that is clinical and just essential part of Joachim Trier's
I mean,
catalog.
and then there's that very explicit Bergman persona reference that's in the movie.
Yes. There's so much in this movie that doesn't sound that good, and all I can tell you is that watching it a second time hit me like a fucking ton of bricks. Like emotionally just got to me. Just like I've described the father a little bit, but there's another way to look at it, which is just like Stellan Skarsgård, who plays the father. This is just kind of like the only way he knows how to live. Like he's obviously, raised by other parents. He can be seen as like so callous and cold. Like at the mother's funeral, he's like going into the basement to look for stuff, like his own books that he wants. And you could read him as just like such an asshole, but it's almost like the journey of his daughter sort of coming to accept him for who he is. And it's also a story of these two sisters, one of which, the other one, who's also nominated for
it's a hard one to pronounce.
Actress. Oh my gosh, Lily Inga Ibsdottir Liljas, who is also wonderful in the movie. It's a story.
I think she steals the movie for me.
Yeah, she absolutely does. And it's also about the relationship between these two. When Renate Reinsve, declines to be in her father's movie because she doesn't want to just like be a tool in her overbearing father's sort of life. He casts Elle Fanning playing this like actress who's like a little bit out of her depth, which is very interesting because it's like
so funny, the scenes where she's like practicing and you can tell
she starts to like dye her hair brown to like act like her and does the Scandinavian accent. Right? There's a persona scene where like their faces meld together. A lot of this stuff should just not really work
or feel like inaccessible.
Yeah, but I just feel like he's just a great writer, and you see where everybody is coming from. Even Stellan Skarsgård, who should just be this asshole. It's like you can kind of see it from his perspective that he's not trying to do this. He's trying to connect with his daughter in the only way that he knows how. Yes, he is extremely club-footed about it and everything, but I don't know. Just the relationships between all these people, the fact that I could understand where everyone was coming from, just these little grace notes of like the scene between the two sisters around the end of the movie as they like talk about their childhood growing up and how, the older sister took care of her younger sister when the father was not around. I don't know, man. It just really, really emotionally got to me.
Any scene of the father having to come to terms with what their daughters feel truly, like in the most honest conversations, are my favorite parts of the movie. I felt very emotionally detached most of the time, which is extremely unusual for me with
I echo that sentiment as well.
Because
a lot of my friends say the same thing.
I think Thelma is like such an emotional gut punch, and I absolutely love every second of that movie. Oslo obviously is a great film.
Oslo's great. I'm not a huge fan of Reprise.
Okay, I haven't seen Reprise yet, but love Worst Person in the World. Like,
Worst Person in the World's great.
just all of these emotional
It
storytelling.
feels very similar to Worst Person in the World.
That's-
Like the storytelling.
Yeah, and that's where some of my gripes come into it. I think he's retreading a lot of the same ground as he did in Worst Person in the World. I think it's a film that I admire more than I
agree.
like. I think I like
It's more of a family.
I like
story,
the
right?
storybook structure of it, where each cut to black represents kind of a chapter being closed and a new one being opened. I like how the setting of the house, that kind of intergenerational house, becomes a character in itself.
Absolutely. It kind of reminds me of another SIS movie, actually, Summer Hours, which I don't know if you've ever seen. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, but I think for me though, I think the film, as it trudges along or goes through, I think it loses kind of its emotional resonance, and I think it's a matter of personal taste as well. I was watching the movie. I'm sorry to say it, but I was watching. I'm like, it's just white people problems.
I remember
the movie.
you telling me that as soon as we got out of the
it's
theater.
like, wait, your dad wants to talk to you? What? No, but it's.
About his feelings.
But it's just like, it's a movie that really requires you to be ingratiated and or have this kind of cinephilic mindset where it's, you're ingratiated in the world. A lot of the piano teacher references or whatnot.
But it has so much wide appeal. I mean,
Yeah.
look, it's how many nominations did
Yeah.
it get? It's crazy.
Yeah, like 6 or 7. I don't know. Like the humanism of it won me over. This is, of all the movies to talk about, this is the one that I have the least intellectual or cerebral talk about it.
Because it is super cerebral.
It is cerebral, but it just hit me. It's like, if you care about these characters, when you get to the end and like how it's resolved, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just found it extremely touching. Like, I really like movies about estranged families that are kind of coming together.
Me too, and like as someone who, another movie about families like Noah Baumbach's Meyerowitz stories, or even Squid and the
Great
Whale.
movie.
I mean, those
Great
are
movie.
movies that resonate with me because they're dealing with these
Speaking
fractured.
of a person in the film industry reuniting or trying to connect with his estranged daughter, Jay Kelly, this year. Fucking terrible
Piece of shit.
movie.
But also, like, Jeff
I-
Daniels from Squid and the Whale reminds me a little bit of Stellan Skarsgård
Yeah,
from Thing.
agreed.
He's like more of like a talentless kind of
Hack.
oaf in Squid and the Whale who thinks he's super smart, but just this father you kind of either have to detach from or just like learn to love him for his faults.
Yeah.
And the fact that she can see that these moments in the movie, like he cast the younger sister in a movie back in the day when she was just a kid. It looks like sort of like a Holocaust drama or something like that. And now he wants to do the same for the younger sister's son. And, I think he is trying to connect, and this is a one way, but it's also he's doing it for the movie. Just nothing is simple in the movie. You can see all these different
The
perspectives.
cogs turning,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I need to give it another shot. I'm flummoxed by my response to it because I'm someone who adores Worst Person in the World.
Yeah.
And I think it feels like more of the same, and I should have had that same response to it, but I didn't. So you're making me want to check it out again for sure.
I think it's like if you emotionally react to it, it will hit you. And if you don't, like again, a lot of my friends were pretty mid on it. I really liked the first time. Second time, maybe I was just in one of those moods where I was just really sad, but I don't know, man.
Maybe you can forgive the fact that these guys have universal health care and social safety nets and that they're white and et cetera, and be like, forgive that, forget it. Imagine people like that could still have problems.
Just imagine.
Yes.
Just
I don't
imagine.
know. People trying to connect and the various reasons. I don't know. For me, all the reasons that The Worst Person in the World was interesting, they apply to this movie. It might not be as good as The Worst Person in the World, but I don't know. Really worked for me.
Yeah.
I can see it. Okay, number 5 now, right? Or is that your number?
This is my number 5. So what's your number 5?
Okay, I've got A Poet, which is also is that on your list?
No, I haven't even heard of it.
Never heard of it.
I remember you're big on it at TIFF.
It was my favorite film at TIFF.
Okay.
It is a Colombian film by Simón Mesa Soto. It's basically a after hours oaf falls downward the entire movie, unemployed core, comedy and buffoonery all in one. Story about this former great poet who received like a Young Poets Prize in Colombia. who we find him like 30 years down the line, still living at home with his grandmother, is not actively writing poetry or publishing anything new since the 90s, is broke and asking his grandmother for money.
We've all been there.
And yet has such a heart of gold that he can be a grating piece of shit, but you just see like a heart of gold emerge as he takes on a mentor, a young girl who he genuinely believes in her poetic prowess and believes that she can be what maybe he once was, and maybe lives a little bit vicariously through her, as he takes on a temp job at a school that his poet friend basically he's like, oh, fine, I'll give you this job because I can see how miserable and pathetic your life is right now. That sets up an incredible hour or so of this guy making every possible worst decision he can to get himself in trouble with this. Again, I mean, I think you can picture where I'm going with this. I don't want to say too much because it's a brilliant story, but this young girl around 14 years old at a school, and he starts driving her to poetry slams that are funded by European charity and NGOs abroad that want her to write poetry about her poverty and being a woman. Or
fetishizing that poverty. Yeah.
Exactly. But he's read her poetry, which is it's a little flowery, it's a little bit surreal, but he really believes in her, and that sets up the after hours downfall of this pathetic oaf of a character who is just so lovable, is just maybe a little Josh O'Connor. In Mastermind, but he's not skilled at all. He's just like maybe.
Well, neither is Josh O'Connor.
No, but I mean he's got sleight of hand, Josh O'Connor. I mean, if you in Mastermind, like he does.
Opens a drawer and takes out
in a sly way.
Sure.
But this guy really believes himself to be greater than he actually is. But he's alcoholic. He's failing downwards, not upwards. But again, the heart of gold emerges, and it's shot on film. It looks beautiful. It's warm, and the conversations are hilarious and just so sarcastic and sardonic. They're like removed from any sense. Like they kind of have like a airplane quality to it, where they pretend like it's not funny the entire time. You know, the conversations are very serious, and they're like, your life is pathetic and miserable, but that's hilarious. You know,
so it's another sneaky best character study of the year.
Yeah, it is. It's excellent character study. It's super funny, and I don't know.
I'm convinced. It's on my watch list now.
Yeah.
You reeled us both in.
It's really great.
Another movie everyone has to wait a while to see.
I don't know when but it did win some prize at Cannes.
It was nominated for.
Grand jury.
Is nominated for Best International Feature at the Spirit Awards.
Okay.
In 2026. That's cool.
I'm sure people will get to see it.
I hope so.
It got the grand jury prize. Pretty sure at Cannes.
Cool.
I think so. But yeah, excellent movie. Yeah, great ending. It's hilarious. Physical comedy of this main character, this main actor, is just fantastic too. So if you like the physical comedy of No Other Choice, there's a scene in there for you. Yeah, good stuff. Okay. Are we on number 4 now?
My number 4.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Clint Bentley's Train Dreams.
Yeah, not on my list. And did not like that movie.
I got about 20 minutes in.
Okay, I mean,
sorry,
let's. I'm gonna defend it.
Huge Western head.
Yeah,
obviously. I mean, you guys were talking about Clint.
Yeah, so I'm a big. I like to call it a quasi Western. It's a Western until it isn't. But just a little bit. The movie is about a man who's living in the 1910s, so early 20th century in the Pacific Northwest, and he kind of bears witness to these technological social changes that are kind of proliferating across America. And so he sees a lot of change in his lifetime. And the movie is very Malikian, Terrace Malikian. But I also really got a lot of the same kind of vibes from one of my favorite Westerns, which is Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, especially due to Will Patton's kind of amazing narration that I loved. But the film really, to me, is both kind of a covert history lesson in terms of this is about a man who is not written about in history books or will be lost to the annals of history, and we're zoning in on his experience. But then again, the movie becomes this kind of cosmic tapestry where it kind of slowly traces his life, but then becomes a commentary on kind of our relationship with time, our place within the cosmos or whatnot. And you kind of slowly see this kind of ancient world of flora and fauna give way to these kind of concrete jungles that are going to define life in North America. And I really was moved by this film, and I really, really loved it. And I think Joel Edgerton sneakily gave one of the best performances of the year. I understand a lot of people may not like the kind of tone or vibe that the movie is going for, but for me, I really felt like I was watching a storybook or history lesson of a man that otherwise would be forgotten. So for me, it's
that's
up there.
a cool perspective.
Yeah.
I like that idea of capturing someone who might not have had a movie talked about them or might have been forgotten in time.
And
I mean, that's very common, for working people who have built a country up from scratch. They don't have their stories unless somebody tells them. Right?
And I love that the movie is also touches on kind of the xenophobia rampant that coming in that time, kind of our destruction of nature, of ecology, and just there's so many traces that you see that it's so long ago, but there's not really that different to where we're living now. And in terms of a person being lost to time, reminds me to even McCabe and Mrs. Miller. I mean, that's a human being, or that's a man that would be lost to time, right? And by the ending of that movie is. So I really, really love the film, and kind of a sequel to Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford that I didn't know I wanted. So there you go.
I love movies that have like an old-timey rural person have to interact and head first with the modern world. I think of Happy as Lazaro, if you've seen that. That movie does that kind of impact. I mean, literally frozen in time and then brought back to modernity, but also seeing just how similar the time is. I also love Dersu Uzula, which is Akira Kurosawa's Russian language film. Also has the ending of that film is this man from the Russian taiga who now has to go to the city to get treatment for the things that they survived in the taiga. There was something that was missing with Train Dreams for me. Maybe a little bit of emotional detachment that I felt and couldn't connect with. But the scene, that aspect, I really do love because I really love that theme. So I was primed to enjoy that, but I didn't connect with the rest of the film.
I am going to try to finish it at a certain point.
Okay.
Falling asleep? I know.
You ever have that feeling where you watch a movie and you're like, oh, this is what people must think about who don't like it, must think about this movie. So like for me, this was like, oh, this must be what it's like when like people who don't like Terrence Malick watch a Terrence Malick movie.
That's
almost
funny.
like when you see like a bad Tarantino rip off and you're like, must be what it's like.
That's how I felt about Caught Stealing, but
Oh,
bad
interesting.
movie. I
had fun with it.
Struck me a little bit like American Apparel's Terrence Malick movie.
That's funny.
For the first 20 minutes that I watched
Shit.
it, and I just was not.
That's brutal.
Just did not buy like a second of it. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I am not in on this. Like, it looks beautiful.
empty spectacle.
It looked like it might turn into a jeans commercial at any time.
We are on number 4 now, right?
I did my number 4, which is Train Dreams. So
Okay, what's your number 4?
Number 4, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You by Mary Bronstein.
So that was my number 10. So we can
get into it?
Yeah, get into it. So why don't you introduce it for us?
So this is the good Dime I Love.
Yeah. That's fair. That's why this is on my list and Dime I Love isn't. But I like Dime I Love.
It's actually not that similar to Dime I Love. They're both movies about motherhood.
And the buck stops there, maybe.
Yeah, the buck probably does stop there.
Yeah.
But it is a phenomenal performance by Rose Byrne as a woman who is attempting to take care of her daughter who has an eating disorder as her life sort of falls apart around her. Her husband is always traveling on business. We never see the face of the daughter throughout the movie. We just hear her kind of whining. So we're very much in the headspace of Rose Byrne as she tries to navigate these things, and her life kind of just spirals out of control. She ends up going to live in a motel as a huge hole in her ceiling gets fixed. The film has like a very exaggerated quality to it, where it's like motherhood. It's like postpartum turned up to like 100.
Yeah,
basically everything going wrong. But to me, it always feels like it's rooted in real human emotions. And seeing a lot of my friends sort of go through motherhood and go through parenthood over the past like 5 years or so, it made me have a lot of empathy for it. But really, this is just like a hysterical dark comedy.
absolutely.
It definitely, has a little bit of that Safdie feel. It was written by Mary Bronstein, who's married to Ronald Bronstein, who co-wrote Mary Supreme and a lot of other Safdie movies. And it definitely like has some of the Allura house style, but I just really, really connected with this movie more than I connect with a lot of those movies. Features an incredible supporting performance by Conan O'Brien as her therapist.
Yeah, he's incredible in this movie.
The scenes between the two of them together and just his face, just his still face, makes me laugh so much. Yeah, I think this one is honestly not to be missed.
I want to talk a little bit more about those scenes because I think it's a movie that reminds you that therapists are real people themselves with
100%.
real problems, and it's the way that they tackle that is so genius because
Absolutely.
We've just spent so much time with Rose and seen everything going wrong, and that she's alone in this. Besides getting some support from her therapist, but has to remain some level of professionalism as she's dealing with different degrees of maternal conflict
100%. And
in
and
her
you get
own
to
and her patients.
Totally. And you get to see so much of like Rose Byrne has so much depth in the movie. Like she's hairy at a certain point, but then she has to keep it together when she's dealing with her clients, and just all of the sort of things. There's so many things that end up going wrong in the movie, and they are like comedically exaggerated, but they all feel like they root from like a very real place.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
The unraveling aspect is done so well, like as the movie progresses and Rose's character gives up more and more pieces of herself to the various people that she's dealing with.
And just kind of, starts acting badly, She starts acting badly. She's not being...
Lashes out in the group therapy session,
Lashing
right?
on the group therapy session of her daughter. So her daughter is going to basically like an eating disorder camp. She's constantly harangued by... When she's trying to drop her daughter off, she's harangued by the parking... Or by the security guard there who says she can't park.
Yeah, that's
she
right.
She feels demeaned by... some of the classes they're going to. But she's really, really trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
Another contention for best scene of the year, I'll just say the hamster scene.
Oh my
from
God,
If I Had
yes.
Legs, and I will not elaborate further than that. If you have not seen this movie, absolutely go out and see it.
Yeah, some great character acting from that hamster.
100%. Mommy, I don't want this hamster anymore. I think we got the wrong one. It's like how annoying her daughter is, but just because you don't see her, like if you saw her, she would be a character and you'd care about like her, but because it's always keeping on like Rose Byrne's face and you just hear this, she just becomes this annoyance.
Shrill background noise almost.
And it's like it sort of simplifies it a little bit by just keeping on Rose's perspective, but you feel for her at every single
This
moment.
is another brilliance of a movie that is about motherhood that doesn't show the child, because then it becomes, again, the mother gives up a piece of herself and it becomes about the baby. That's a huge thing that modern family therapists talk about with new mothers. Is like, do not forget the mother here that just went through 9 months.
Yeah.
And now postpartum depression setting in. debilitating mental health problems and the body's recovering from 9 months of hell.
Yeah.
The movie does that really well by just, again, the fixation on the mother the entire time. And I think it's empathetic and, really well done.
Yeah, I echo a lot of the same sentiments. I think it's another film that I have to give a rewatch because the kind of inherent zaniness and kind of oddities that are baked into the movie are something that really I resonate with. I mean, the weirder the movie, I love it, right? I love the weirdness. I think it must have been the kind of the atmosphere or kind of the state that I watched it at TIFF where I wasn't. It came at the heel of like a 4 or 5 movie day.
Okay, yeah.
This is why I stopped watching more than 2 movies a day at TIFF, because I'm like, I don't even know if I'm really absorbing these.
Yeah, so it was one of those. So it's a movie that, again, it's falling in the plane where I admire it, but it's one I need to revisit because I think Rose Byrne does give, out of all the actresses nominated, not that who cares about
in
the
a just
Oscars.
world, she is the winner for Best Actress, even though it looks like it's going to be Jessie Buckley.
Yeah.
Who's great.
Yeah.
Okay. You're our number 3 now, right?
Yeah, I guess I'll go to number 3 then.
Yeah.
Okay. How to pronounce the director? So my number 3 is Kleber Mendoza Filho's The Secret Agent. I absolutely.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's my number 10 is your number 4, correct?
Yep.
I haven't given my number 4, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You have not given your
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I
spoiled it. Sorry.
No, that's
No,
okay. No,
Don't worry,
I'll edit. We'll do
he's
this
editing
again.
it. It's fine.
Okay, so my number 4 is Eddington. Is that later on in anyone's list?
It was on my honorable mentions.
Okay.
It's my number 5.
Okay, cool. So we can talk about Eddington first, if that's okay. Yeah, Eddington. Eddington, probably the most divisive movie of the year, I'd say.
It's up there for sure.
And rightly so, given what it's tackling.
I think so, but also unfair. Rightly? I think it's unfairly divisive, actually.
I agree with this. I think that some of the takes have been a little bit bird-brained.
Yeah.
I think if like a lot of people have said it's like a both sides movie.
No.
I don't think that is. You can make the case for it that the liberals in the movie
No.
are as bad as like the conservatives.
No.
in the
As
movie.
bad is unfair
I agree,
conversation.
But like, you know what I
to
mean?
have.
Like, it's like the thing is, I just feel like what it shows is that some people just cannot laugh at themselves
Or face
Yes.
criticism.
or face
And which is
criticism.
why it was my funniest movie that I thought of the year because I was guffawing at the film.
I was laughing. I don't know. I couldn't say the political makeup of my Scotiabank crowd, but I have to imagine that some of them were conservative people. I'm more of a leftist. It felt like we were all laughing. It felt like a healing laughing.
Yeah.
It felt like we all went through a mass hysteria 5 years ago, and now we're finally being able to like parse through it a little bit. I love that the true villain of the movie is not, Joaquin Phoenix. It's not Austin Butler. It's not any of these characters, but is the data center that's being built.
And feeding algorithmically charged, angry messaging to everyone
it's the
involved
one that
in this
is
movie.
not personified. It's something you can't personify, right?
Yeah.
It's a movie about how all of our brains broke over COVID, because of things like social media, where all of our they try to accentuate all the ways that we disagree with each other and try to feed us stuff that's going to make us the most pissed off. So you just have Joaquin Phoenix playing the sheriff of this town, who is one of those guys who wears his mask like under his nose and stuff, and getting mad at sort of the liberals. The liberals are made fun of in the movie because they're like all these white kids who are trying to do Black Lives Matter on the streets of Eddington, where the only black guy in the movie in the town works for
cop.
the police department. So there's absolutely, it's poking fun at everybody. I think if you want to just see a movie that only makes fun of the other sides, I don't know.
They have movies out there for you.
100%.
I think the greatest strike of genius or stroke of genius in the film is its Western framing. I think this is the perfect genre to tackle it through. I mean, like, you take a look at the genre. I mean, it's one that's inundated or personified by these like heroic, dashing sheriffs. But it's like, no, for our era that we're living in, this kind of fractured, competing realities, it makes sense that our sheriff is like an impotent, QAnon-obsessed,
Yeah.
right-wing loser sheriff who's a coward and does a lot of things that are cowardly. And I think it's the perfect summation of usurping that genre to comment on kind of the American myth and the myths we kind of made of ourselves during that time.
Not to mention the politically inept and impotent mayor, who is also
liberal mayor played by Pedro Pascal.
Exactly, who is more worried about actual, like, this word is misused, but actual virtue signaling, that's what it is. This is the real definition of virtue signaling, which is when your face matters more than your actions. And the portrayal of social justice or promoting the various things that liberal candidates would propose in not defunding the police or not any sort of leftist politics, the real virtue signaling is when they inevitably have a party unmasked and the Katy Perry song comes on. I mean, that is like one of the greatest scenes of the year.
Great needle drop.
And a perfect culmination of the sort of virtue signaling that they talk about and why it's not a both sides thing. I've talked to people, conservatives namely, who were offended by the movie and felt like it was pushing, I hate this, but pushing a narrative or an agenda. Of course it has a narrative. It's a fucking movie with a story to tell. That's what a narrative is. So, but I think it's fair
actually a movie that's like reaching
very,
across the aisle and trying
yeah,
to be
so
like
empathetic.
we like we're both silly. We're being
both being
artificially
fucked
divided.
by the system.
We're being strawmanned. All of our arguments are being strawmanned. We don't actually know what the other person is thinking. It's also a movie about the internet and about how now when we see something happening, we see Black Lives Matter protests happening, we see all these things, social justice movements, we want to enact them at home where we are, even if it doesn't make that much sense for all these white people to be doing this like Black Lives Matter,
But they clearly have other issues to worry about.
They have other issues to worry about, but they do care. It's like, even though it makes fun of the liberals, like the worst thing that they do, I mean, other than the like personification of neoliberalism played by Pedro Pascal, the worst they do is like care in the wrong way.
Right.
And I think that's where the kind of Western aspect comes back, because what was the tool of the West? It was the 6-shooter. Now these glowing screens in our pocket are way more powerful, pack a bigger punch.
Yeah.
So I think it all comes full circle.
I love that you mentioned the main villain is not personified, because this is a weaselly piece of language that is being used to excuse the algorithm, which is controlled and manufactured by real people who should be held responsible for the social damage or consequences of what they've created.
Yeah.
But the way that we talk about it is that the algorithm is pushing violent extremist content online. The algorithm is perpetuating political polarization. The algorithm, and not the people who are responsible for creating those things. There was an incident this past year, where apparently Instagram had been putting extremely violent, like gore-level content on people's feeds. And apparently it was an accident, it didn't get caught by the filter, but that's what I'm saying. There's no human being involved in making sure that a video of like something violent and horrific, like live leak level, doesn't get taken off a platform that children are on, I hate to be like the protect the children thing, but like anyone should not. That could be traumatic, and I think we're so desensitized to the sorts of violence that is accessible online, and it's so normalized. But it is absolutely somebody's responsibility in the fact that they can just be like, oh well, that's our automated filters that aren't working. That's our algorithm that did that.
And even when there is like a human intervention, it is to make us more divided. It is to push content that will get our bloods boiling, that will keep us engaged, keep us
profitable, right?
Keep us rage baiting the most, 100%. So, yeah, I agree with everything that's been said.
People have talked about this at length, and it's a tired argument, but I really do think Eddington has been treated unfairly.
It's really tough to make a movie about today. Like to make a movie about 5 years ago?
Especially, it's still fresh. Like people are still actively reeling from it. So it's history is still unfolding.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And
it's the first great COVID movie, though. I gotta say.
Just now at Davos, there's a clip that is going viral of Justin Trudeau being confronted by Canadian activists who
Oh,
are
that Rebel News or
Rebel
whatever,
News
yeah.
and the people saying, why did you do the lockdowns, etc. Like attacking him for his COVID policies. Now, they were not perfect. In fact, they were incredibly debilitating to the large majority of the country. This is what Eddington is talking about. When we're unable to look at things, I don't know, objectively, or reach across the aisle, and can't laugh at ourselves because everything is polarized and it feels like people are calling you stupid or incapable or et cetera, et cetera. I think that's the origin of why Eddington is being treated so unfairly.
Listen here, partner.
Why I love the movie
This
so
town
much.
ain't big enough for 2 doom scrollers.
Exactly.
Terrific movie.
Okay, let's hear your number 3.
Okay, my number 3 is, let's see if I get the name right. Is Kleber Mendoza Filho's The Secret Agent. It's a movie that I was enamored with. It's a movie that I saw early during my TIFF experience, and it stayed with me. And it's a film that it's so interesting because if you read it on the surface, the movie is about takes place during the late 70s, during the military dictatorship in Brazil, and it comes off the heel of another Brazilian film that was about that same period, and I'm Still Here. And so when you read the movie, you think of it as like, oh my God, here we go, another Oscar baity movie about trauma during a regime or whatnot. But the movie's title and what it is, it's such a great misnomer because it's not about a secret agent. It's not about a spy thriller or whatnot. It's about a kind of dissenting technology researcher who's on the lam and he just wants to get out of the country, right? And it's the film, I think, really uses its medium and it defines fiction as a means of not obscuring the truth, but distilling it and the power of storytelling in film and fiction play. And I found the film such a beautiful, vibrant kind of reclamation of both personal and national history. And every frame, you just watch it bursting with life. I mean, rarely have I been so enveloped by a frame where so much is happening, there's so much chaos, but it's live. I'm seeing life unfolding on screen. And I think
the production design and attention to detail of everything for the 70s, it is very enveloping.
And it's shot on that equipment as well. But yeah, no, it's less interested in kind of being this overarching document of its era, and it's more about kind of being a messy tapestry of a people, right?
A lot of it's just a hangout movie.
And I
with
love
him
it.
And other, not expats, but other sort of people who are hiding from the regime in power in this sort of little community. They all take care of each other. There's groceries that are delivered. A lot of it is just seeing people living in this in this building.
And that's what I have to call it. I call it not really a movie. It's like a living, breathing cinematic novel in a way, right? Where each page is flipping and you're going through it. And I was really enamored by it. And there's even its use of cinema with its kind of genre detours that it takes. And it's like,
it is a very cinema. It's a lot of it's about cinema history.
Yeah.
and stuff.
Well, this is Philo's obsession. I've never seen a director whose muse is a city quite like Philo. Yeah, Recife. Yeah, exactly. This city, he's like completely obsessed with this city. Every movie of his takes place there. Bacurau is the only exception, but like still, it's referenced in Bacurau, and Pictures of Ghosts is an entire story just about that city. It's
just about old film houses, right? That
Yes.
have old theaters.
the fact that this small city in Brazil, which is forgotten about in the grand scheme of things in Sao Paulo and Rio conversations, has a deep history of cinema houses and cinema culture. He revisits them. He talks about them in all of his in Aquarius, and
Aquarius is so
good.
fucking good.
yeah,
good.
it's an excellent movie. And but this love for this city, it becomes a character. I know it's cliched to say, but it's basically an entire character in and of itself. And yeah.
and I also think Wagner Moura, that's my performance of the year for me.
Absolutely. There's some incredible performances this year. He's in the top 5 for me as well.
Yeah, no, it's a performance that through his kind of small inflections, through his eyes, his mannerisms, it's a world of melancholy, pain, but also hope, life, lust, romance. Like it's everything. It's life kind of like spewing out on the screen. I loved it. And like even as genre detours, as I was saying, kind of the hairy leg sequence or whatnot. I don't want to go into it, but I mean that is so loaded with it's teeming with kind of thematic depth, right? Where it's these institutions that kind of roll over us, how they can kind of co-opt folklore as a ways of putting down these kind of groups, right? Marginalized groups. So it's I don't know. It's
Psyop.
It's an achievement. There you go. It's an achievement, really, in filmmaking for me.
I really want to see it again.
Same.
I have it downloaded. It was another one I was hoping to catch up with. It was a movie that like really only came into focus for me in the last like hour when like the chase sequence starts. Last 20 minutes, extremely moving. I love when a movie becomes something else.
One of the greatest anti-climaxes, I will say.
Has a, I don't want to say what movie it reminds me of because it'll give too much away. But it has an anti-climax sort of thing that's reminiscent of another huge movie that came out in the last 20 years. And the frame story adds so much. I had trouble holding it in my hands as I was watching
That's
it.
exactly what I wrote. I wrote that I felt like I was chasing the script when I first saw it, which I think is why rewatching it would be very helpful.
I'm not convinced that it needs to be 2 hours and 40 minutes long. And it is a little bit meandering, even though I like the meandering quality of it. I think they probably could have cut 20 minutes out of it, but it's a fantastic movie.
When you love that world that it's built, you don't
Yeah,
want to leave
you
it.
don't
So I
wanna leave it,
understand enjoying the
And
length.
I think the meandering quality of it, I think to me, is really integral to the
Totally.
movie.
I felt like I didn't click in fast enough on my first watch to understand what I was seeing.
It's one of those movies I had to like leave the theater and like look at Wikipedia for a second to figure out what was like what is going on exactly.
I'm still thinking about that one shot when he sits on the ledge of the theater and the camera's panning out and it catches like this wide frame of Recife. And I'm just like, oh my God, I want to live inside that frame.
I love all the stuff that's shot inside the movie theater as well.
I love how it's a place that's so scummy too. Like people are having sex and everything in the theater. It's great.
Philo is like has such an interesting portrayal of sex in Brazil. It's like it's not romantic sometimes. It's not, but it's also not mechanical in like a cold and distant way. It's like a process sometimes. Like I'm thinking of Aquarius.
To quote a movie that I feel is going to be in our list, Life, man. Life.
I love it. It's I need to give it another shot, but yeah, great movie.
Same.
Okay.
I feel like I'm the biggest champion of that movie. I love that movie more than anyone that I've talked
Got a best
to.
picture nom.
Okay, then I need to go to LA.
What's your number 3?
My number 3, I don't know if you guys have heard of this movie. It's not that well known. It's called Sinners with Michael B. Jordan. Is that on any other of your guys' list?
It was my number 7. So.
It's my number 7 as well.
Okay,
Okay.
well, yeah, let's talk
So
about
I'm
Sinners.
higher on this
Awesome.
than y'all.
Yeah,
God damn it.
barely.
Every
It's so
now
good.
and then you just go to the movies and you see a movie that is just so good, that appeals to so many different people, that is mainstream and populist, but also has depth to it. It honestly, it's a singular achievement. There's so much going on in this movie. It's talked about as like a horror movie, but the first like hour and 20 minutes of this movie, maybe even longer, it takes so long to set up before we really get that payoff.
That's where those comparisons with Dusk Till Dawn come into play.
Sure.
or whatnot.
And I love a horror movie, or whatever. I don't think it's really a horror movie, but I love a supernatural movie like that where you remember you're like an hour into the movie and you're like, oh no, like there's gonna be some vampires or shit in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen because I love these characters so much. I love this world.
Exactly.
You know, I'm all over the place with this one, but it's such a horny movie.
Yes.
Sex has been so much stripped out of modern movies for the most part, that to see a movie that has 3 different sex scenes in it that are all really hot,
Very hot.
that focus. It's so without calling attention to itself, does so many like really cool things. It has a scene where Michael B. Jordan is talking to Preacher Boy about how to perform oral sex on a woman, and then that gets to be paid off later a movie like about female desire. One of the Michael Jordan characters, Smoke, is in love with this woman who has also been nominated for Best Supporting Actress, Wunmi Mosaku, who is not like a typical Hollywood, leading actress that you might put against Michael Jordan. And like having them, she's a little bit of a bigger woman, and having them have that romance and that sex, like it just feels quietly revolutionary.
Felt real, right?
Felt real. It felt like we don't see this in movies very often.
Well, Michael B. Jordan is a sex icon,
100%.
and that's how he's sold. That plays into the fact that there's so many sex scenes in this movie and it's very horny, but it doesn't overplay it.
Vampires are hot, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but it doesn't overplay it. I think it's done very very well. Yeah.
It's just it's a crowd pleasing movie.
Yeah.
It ends up being kind of a siege picture at the end,
Right.
like an assault on Precinct 13 or something like that. They're inside, people want to come in. It's funny. The music is
The musicality to me is the high, like really high point for me.
The music in it is absolutely fantastic.
And it uses
from the score by Ludwig Göransson
Yeah.
to the actual like blues music that's used to the
Irish
folk music
dancing.
that actually kind of inspired Ryan Coogler to make this movie. He watched this old like Disney Channel movie or something like that about like Irish, and he found that it had similarities to like blues and like hip hop and stuff like that. There's a point where like what's his name, Jack O'Connell, who plays like the lead vampire guy, is singing this Irish folk song, and he's almost like rapping.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I can see why they like. I was watching. I was like, this must have been so fucking hype when this
Yeah.
song came out in Ireland, like
Yeah.
the 1800s. They were like dancing around. They're like,
Yeah.
this must have been like the Not Like Us of its time.
But it's also a perfect comparison, just the shared history of oppression in
exactly.
Ireland. And,
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, you see Irish culture today embracing
Palestinian culture,
activism and
I think that-
anti-colonialism,
Totally.
anti-imperialism.
They've always been
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what my favorite part of the movie is that how layered it is in using that vampire mythology to comment on this. I mean, think about it. The only way, what they're offering this community is like become vampires and to get ahead because this country's abandoned you. Think about it. The only way for a black person to get in America is to literally sacrifice their humanity so they can become vampires.
That's such a great scene in the movie where they like lay out why they should become vampires, and it's like you're like, oh shit. That's actually a pretty compelling case.
You're right.
It's like how Killmonger was such a compelling villain in Black Panther because he was kind of right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's so layered. The metaphor of the movie, like you can read it in several different ways. You can read it with all that Irish context. You can also read it as just like white like record executives trying to like suck the life out of this black music.
Sure.
Yeah.
And take it. It doesn't have just. It's not like Get Out where it's like the text is the subtext.
There's
it actually
so
can be
much-
read in several different ways, which I think art is great when it is.
And I loved it because it's like I was watching. I'm like, hey, these vampires are scary, but it's like these people deal with a monster on a daily basis,
Sure.
right? Like,
And
they walk the streets during the day.
And it has like a
Yeah,
double
that's
climax
right.
where like there's the vampires, but then the Ku Klux Klan is actually the thing. One thing that really struck me of this movie, I don't want to talk about it too much because everyone has seen it. Everyone knows why it's good. But one thing that really struck me on when I watched it last night is that there was never going to be any future to this juke joint. They get in the town. They're like, we need to open this tonight. You're like, tonight? You're going to start a new business tonight? You're like inviting people and like, oh, can we have a sign for tonight? You're like, what the hell? You should give yourselves a little bit more time. But they're on the clock. It is implied or even said several times in the movie that they robbed Al Capone. They also robbed the Irish gangsters. So like someone will be on their tail eventually. The place that they got, they were only rented that spot because the Ku Klux Klan wanted to like come and kill them. They say like it's a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
They're looking at the tally of the money and they're like, we're going to be broke in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like there never really was a future to this. They need to do it as soon as possible because it's not going to last forever. And that like, I don't know. It was a little bit not nostalgic, but it was there's like a sadness to it.
The double threat ending reminded me so much of Night of the Living Dead when the police force at the end is who ends up killing
Absolutely.
the lead.
And that was actually kind of like floated as the ending to Get Out as well.
Yeah.
The cops come and they kill.
And they invert that a little bit.
Well, they gave us a happy ending because
Yeah.
I think they were like, the country is so fucked right now. Let's give them a happy ending, at least in this goddamn movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, brilliant film. Loved it.
Also, Haley Steinfeld called me anytime.
Hall pass.
I'll
Fuck Josh Allen. Okay. Lucky bastard. Just gets to be quarterback of the Bills.
Ooh, look at me. I'm quarterback of the Bills. My girlfriend's Haley Steinfeld. I'm really good looking. Fuck you.
Fuck you, man.
Fuck you.
Piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
I'm glad he lost.
Hell yeah. And they fired their coach too.
Yeah. Good. Anyways, whatever. Sports ball. My number 3 is Sorry Baby. That another low-key debut by Ava Taylor.
Ava Victor.
Ava Victor, sorry. Debut by Ava Victor. I went from Sinners to like talking about Sinners, which is this massive movie with impending doom consequences and vampires, and it's just such a massive movie. Now starting to think about Sorry Baby, which is such a enclosed story and
Very
so personal and quiet and melancholic, but also what happens to Ava Victor is it's unthinkable, it's unspeakable, and dealing with the consequences of that. I mean, it's touching on cultural perceptions of coming out and against someone in power who abused you. Talks about the medical system and the police system that is there to protect you or not, or leave you behind. Talks about gender identity and their feelings of inadequacy or not fitting in the medical system when offered a chance to tell the doctors who they are as a human being.
Just to give a little bit of context
Please.
of the movie, it's about an English literature student played by Eva Victor and her best friend, whose name I cannot remember, but she's a fantastic actress.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
And yeah, sort of like the before.
Naomi Aki.
Thank you, Naomi Aki. The before and after of
The
this
great Naomi Aki.
Yeah.
of this like
Wonderful.
sexual assault that basically happens, and it's a comedy in certain ways.
Yeah.
It's a drama in other ways. It's a dramedy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I have a problem with this movie.
Okay.
I saw it twice. I really liked it the first time. Second time, I liked it a little bit less. I just find that, oh man, Ava Victor, she's super talented. She has a great steady hand when directing this movie. She has great control of tone. She has great like comedic timing and some great moments. The character itself, she just strikes me as just kind of like an egomaniac. It's like a hard thing to say about like a movie that like is dealing with something that's like really like important.
Well, that's the interesting part to me, is that obviously they're a flawed person,
Absolutely.
and a flawed character.
It's just like I find the Naomi Aki character does not have a personality. She is there to just be the best friend of this world.
Emotional support.
Emotional support, and to be with her. And, you know, people talk about how, like, it's such a genuine movie about women friendship. And I'm like, yeah, but only one of them actually
Is a friend.
Yeah, like, she's not a good friend to her. Even when she's, like, talking about her baby, she's like, are you going to name it? You gonna name it after me and all this stuff? And it just feels like, I don't know, it feels like a movie about someone who's just, like, incredibly self-involved. And that took away a little bit from it. Like the second time I watched it, all the things about it, like it's shot really well, has really nice scenes. There's a scene with what's his
John
face?
Carroll Lynch.
Thank you. I was gonna say the guy from the Drew Carey show, but also Zodiac, where she has a panic attack in her car and she has to like pull over, and there's a guy who runs a sandwich shop who basically like counsels her and talks to her. It's very nice. You know, the details of the assault itself and the way that it's presented and everything. It's you know, it's all really good. I don't know.
Unlike another movie that tried to shoehorn an assault storyline.
I know you're talking about Materialist.
Of course.
I know you're talking about Materialist.
But that the realism aspect of I don't know, coping and dealing with what just happened is
Yeah.
just such a gut punch, and I don't know. I really loved
I
it.
just felt like there were scenes where I was supposed to be really, really like on her side and get it, and it does suck to deal with, you know, a cop or a doctor talking about your assault. But like, for example, the scene with the doctor in the doctor's office, they're just so hard on him, and I don't really feel like, you know, he speaks a little bit, you know,
I don't know. I thought his
clumsy.
bedside manner was terrible.
He didn't have great bedside manner, but like, I don't know. I just feel like that it was constantly like stacking the deck.
Maybe, but I think they're like they are frustrated with how serious what happened was,
Yeah.
and how not.
I think he makes like maybe one mistake, and they just do not let him. She's like, oh, like, I don't know. They're just.
They're not being cooperative.
They come
right?
across as bullies in that scene, and I don't think that that's what that scene is supposed to be about. So there's little moments like that. There's also like the friend played, sorry, not even the friend, the colleague.
Yeah.
Who like they talk about how she's like a little bit like passive aggressive. She's a monster.
Yeah. That's right.
She's a monster in the scene. She comes across as just like a horrendous caricature. Naomi Ackie is just there to like.
It's 2-1 note.
Is just there to be a good friend to this white woman and to affirm this white woman, and she doesn't really have anything of herself.
So a disconnect between kind of character dynamics and like the goal or the
All
themes
the
of
pieces
movie.
are there. Again, it's like really well directed, really, really well acted, great control of tone. There was just moments where I was like, I wish this character wasn't so fucking self-involved. But like you said,
Flawed
they're
character.
a flawed victim. Like, they don't have to be perfect. It's just like, it felt like I was seeing too much of Ava Victor, the person.
That's fair.
Who seems
Now,
a little bit of an enigma.
I think before the assault even happens, it's clear that Ava Victor is struggling immensely. And it feels like Naomi Akkie's character has something figured out. She's also lost. You know, she's a new mother, and has things to deal with herself and her relationships. But the realism to me is, you know, being a good friend sometimes means putting yourself aside. And that aspect, like, yes, maybe we should have heard more from Naomi Ackie.
I just wish there had been more reciprocity between them. I don't know, just little things like she picks up the baby and she's like, sorry, babe. Like the baby at the end of the movie. She's like, sorry,
Yeah.
baby. Something. She's just always making everything about herself in every scene. I don't know. There was just like a little bit of disconnect between, I felt like, what I was supposed to be feeling and just like it being delivered like just a little bit too, I don't know. Yeah. It's like, you know, they're there on the couch together and they're talking and she's like, oh, you slept with her, but I want to know more about Naomi Ackie. Like, I
Sure.
literally know nothing about what makes this woman
That's
tick.
fair.
And I'm supposed to, like, think it's a great friendship because, you know.
So this sort of sounds like my main critique of sentimental value with the sister, with Renee's sister, is that I
You
also
don't get as much from her.
right, and she's just there as a mediating punching bag between Renee and Stellan Skarsgård's character.
Well, I think it's interesting because you expect in sentimental value, so he's made a movie like 15 years ago when they were kids, and you expect that Renee is going to be the one who was in that movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, she's an actress, and now she's an actress, and they have a thing. But it's actually the sister.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it does also seem like the sister, like there's less oxygen for her to live, almost in the same way as like Blue
Blue Moon,
Blue Heron.
Blue Heron.
You know, where there's one character who, like, one sister who takes up more of the oxygen, one sibling who takes up more of the oxygen, the other one, you know, has to more keep it together.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
And then
That's
you
fair.
you do get her perspective and like how she felt about these things and like her relationship with her son and not wanting her son to be exploited and like sort of like she doesn't have as big a problem with her dad as Renee does.
Yeah.
But then once this stuff comes to unravel, she starts to
right.
thing, and I just feel like there's interesting stuff going on there. I feel like I know a little bit more about her character. I wish there was more about Naomi Ackie. I wish certain scenes didn't feel so engineered for us to like be on her sympathy.
Fair enough.
You know? Yeah, like I feel like they could have made that other classmate an actual character and not just like the most mean person in like every scene.
Yeah,
Um,
someone
but-
to hate, basically.
basically, yeah. I just think it stacks the deck a little bit too much, and she comes across a little bit too like obsessed with herself. But
Right.
it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And I honestly hate to, because it's a movie about an important topic, so I hate to be hater about it.
No,
you know
no,
what
no.
I mean?
Those are all fair points.
I'm really, really looking forward to whatever she does next. I think she has incredible comedic timing. I think it's very reasonable to see her as like a Best Director nominee in the next like 10 years.
Yeah.
I think the script could have used a little bit.
Yeah, I felt the complete. I mean, I enjoyed the movie immensely, but I kind of liked it for the reasons that you didn't like it. Where I thought that it's actually very impressive the amount of empathy and that the movie can kind of squeeze out of this character who is visibly very flawed and at times unlikable. I thought that's kind of a stroke of genius in the movie, and I think that felt very real. I mean, there are people all over the world.
I don't think we're supposed to find her unlikable, though. I think that is the.
I found her.
And I
at
don't find her
times
unlikable either. I just feel like there's all these scenes where it's like she's in the bath with the nice guy.
Oh yeah. The neighbor.
And she's just like, do you want to have kids and everything? And he's like, yeah. Like, what about you? And she's like, no, I can't really see it. And he's just like, oh, I bet you maybe you will. And she kind of becomes cold and sits, and we're supposed to understand like he doesn't even fucking get her. Like, he seees like a nice guy, but like he doesn't get her. She's all alone in this.
But like he didn't do anything
He
wrong.
didn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's constantly trying to score these like points, but it doesn't do. It stacks the deck.
So I've had a big debate about Pluribus. Have you seen Pluribus?
I have not. I have it on my.
I have
computer.
not yet.
So
I know the mayor of Albuquerque's in it. That's it.
Rhea
Seahorn.
Seahorn, who plays the main character, I find entirely insufferable.
I think she's designed that way, though.
Yes,
right?
but that there's a level of cynicism. Granted, in the first episode, she does like this is in the first 5 minutes of the show. She loses her partner and basically is tackling with that and the fact that the world is ending. Right. On the other hand, it is extremely draining on the viewer. I don't know why people find this relatable. It feels like she is a villain, a bully, is not capable of letting up a little bit of herself to move on and to try and figure stuff out. And maybe that sounds a little bit like, oh, we're supposed to, we're supposed. She's being mean, but it's relatable. But maybe in Sorry Baby I kind of understand it, but in Pluribus I don't. And now that I'm hearing you out, it that makes sense.
Hear me out. Starting February 9th.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay. I think we're good on Sorry Baby. I loved it, and the ending like destroyed me. So that monologue, I really loved it.
It's like she doesn't even see the fucking baby for the baby. She just sees the baby as like, maybe the baby will go through what I went through someday. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I didn't expect to be this haterish about it.
No,
but,
that's good. I felt that there's a level that like she's confronting an innocence that she's lost, and that's like so painful to see put out into words like that. And time is moving quicker, and I'm like getting older, and it like looking at somebody talk to a baby like that it was very difficult, and I loved it. I don't know, it was like emotional for me. So yeah, I related. Okay, our number twos, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you start, Mark?
My number 2 is No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook.
I love that movie.
Is that your number 2?
That was my number 6.
Okay, so why don't you guys talk about No Other Choice?
This is a movie that exists on a tonal tightrope that once again, like it so easily could not work. It's about a man who's worked at a paper factory for most of his life. He lives in a beautiful house with his wife and kid.
His childhood home that
he's able to buy, obviously means a lot to him. He loses his job, and it starts to very quickly look like they're going to have to sell the house, and this just completely breaks him. Like, he just cannot
snaps.
deal with this. So he basically comes up with an extremely harebrained scheme. First, he's like, I need to get hired by another company. Then he realizes, like, what if there are other people who are more qualified for this job? So he, like, does this whole, like, mock interview search, finds all these these qualified people and decides he's going to kill them one by one. So he is the most qualified for this job. He is also hapless as like a would-be assassin. So it's a dark comedy about
unemployment,
about the dog-eat-dog world of capitalism,
job searching,
about I would say late stage
capitalism. The sort of ending of this movie, where he ends up and what happens, it reminds me of Eddington. Actually, the end of Eddington.
Yes, for
where
sure.
It's like the villain of this movie is
an automated workerless.
Yes,
factory.
Something again that's not personified, or is maybe. Yeah, I loved it exactly for the same reasons. I think it's a great skewering of late stage capitalism. I also love that it has a Toronto connection because it's co-penned by Don McKellar.
I didn't know he co-penned it.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I knew he worked on the TV
The
show.
Sympathizer, and he co-penned it. So yeah,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Good for him.
Wow.
And so yeah, I really love how it kind of it's this really great marriage of kind of like this barbed, acerbic precision that kind of Park Chan-wook has, and he kind of tackles our, I like to say, like Ouroboros, like Ouroboros, self-consuming kind of state of corporate workplace politics. I mean, if you're not bootlicking, then you're not worth it, I guess.
Yeah. And Korea is like a prime example of that in the work culture.
Yeah.
You are your job. I mean, your whole status, your whole sense of worth
That's the
is
thing.
defined
It's
by
like
your job.
he's almost not a person after he loses his work.
Yeah.
And he constantly talks about how it's like he needs to work in paper.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
He's completely defined by this job.
He's the paper man of the year.
It's just like the only way that exactly. It's the only way he can like kind of sort of see himself.
And there's literally like a brainwashing ritual that they undergo with that's what you were doing, the sign, but that they literally have to tell themselves that they're still human because they don't have jobs.
That should be
In spite of the fact.
that should be something that's automatically understood
Yeah.
instead of having to be reinforced.
Right.
And so
Park is also just like he's one of the most maximalist film directors. Like he does so much in this movie.
Pure
Yeah.
command of form and function.
100%.
And there's jokes with title sequences, like when the time jump happens and it shows like, 3 months, it's not so bad, and then it's 13 months. You realize it's been a whole year working at this fucking grocery store.
And I also found the film slyly very disgusting because I mean it's zooming in on like kind of every orifice, eating everything, and like it is
Sweating profusely
and it
in bright red.
represents this kind of like this consumption that capitalism is taking over everyone's lives.
Sure.
And I like you put it as a dark comedy. I like to even classify it as like a grand tragic comedy because and the way he commands this kind of camera with these kind of slicing symmetries and these close-ups and form, and it's really like it feels almost balletic at times.
Totally. Also, one of the best uses of the title drop in a movie, people are constantly saying in this movie that they have no other choice when they absolutely have many other choices. But to them, it really, like to him in that movie, that moment really doesn't feel like it.
To be fair, he is an established family man where he's like deep into his career, and it's, especially in that work culture, not so easy to switch jobs, but that doesn't mean you kill off your competition, I guess.
He certainly takes it to a very, but it's like, it's, that's the world that we're living in.
I mean,
Who are you gonna step over?
It's where moral rot becomes a currency. And it's a currency that you can trade off of. And he literally, a part of him is rotting in the film until he kind of works on it.
The Pyrrhic victory at the end of the movie, and just sort of like the scene of where it ends up. You don't know whether to laugh or cry.
Well, at the beginning, he's saying like, how could they fire all of us? We've been here for so long. We're all humans, and the Americans just want to like fire everyone. And then he's in a completely empty warehouse. He's the only person there.
It's when
he's fine.
It's when the lights go off though.
Yeah.
He's in this. He ends up being, not to fucking give away the whole movie, but it's worth it for the ride. But at the end of the movie, he ends up getting his job. He's the only one left in this factory. It's all completely automated, and then the lights turn off because there's no reason for there to be lights. In like a thing, and he's just left alone in the dark. It is, at what cost, basically.
Yeah.
Crazy movie. Loved it so much. Laughed so hard.
Yeah. Do you think in the pantheon of Park Chan-wook, where does it stay for you?
I've missed out on a few of the other revenge movies like Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance and Lady Vengeance. I've seen Old Boy. I've seen No Other Choice, and I've seen
Decision to Leave.
Decision to Leave, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
This is as good as any of those, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, I concur.
Nice.
I probably put it under Decision to Leave and Old Boy, but I don't know. It's not worth ranking them right now. That's for
exactly.
another video.
Yeah.
All right, our number 2. Right? Or
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I have Marty Supreme as my number 2.
That is my number 2 as well.
Not on my list.
Not on your list. Okay. Well, why don't I introduce Marty
Sure.
Supreme? I mean, everyone knows Marty Supreme, Christmas Day.
Dream big.
Dream big. I don't think I need to reiterate the plot a bit, but I'd love to talk about why it was so deeply moving to me as a Jewish person. This is a movie that subverts a lot of the classic Jewish stereotypes in Jewish American stereotypes in film. I don't know. I just think of Woody Allen characters, neurotic, nervous, sexless,
Ineffectual.
horny, but ineffectual, and weak. That's just but comedic and funny and witty and smart, but can't convert that into something successful. There's also in romantic stereotypes of I don't know, When Harry Met Sally or something like that. Not explicitly Jewish, but it has that energy. All of that combined, and you have a incredibly powerful, truly only cares about himself character that steamrolls the people around him for his own gain, leaves a wake of destruction behind him, which totally but yet still has that cultural, nervous Jewish energy that I think a lot of Jewish films are familiar with, but it subverts them in a way that I thought was very unique and creative. Marty is not someone to look up to. This is something I wrote about, that I'm worried that he'll become like a Patrick Bateman type character for especially Jewish young men.
I think that the Patrick Bateman people are very well aware that he's not an aspirational.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
You would be surprised.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be people who have
This is and
Scarface up in their
Sure. That's what I mean. But this is even more opaque, right?
I'm gonna let you guys get into it, and then I'm gonna get into it after.
Okay. I think this is even more opaque, even more. People who really believe that this is the path to greatness or whatever that means, is to just think of yourself and leave a trail of destruction behind. But I worry at the same time, which is ironic because he is so pent up and has all of this nervous energy that I love about the Jewish portrayal of Judaism in American films. But I just thought it was frenetic and energetic, and I was deeply moved by it. There's a sort of insecurity that comes with being Jewish, and it has to do with the Holocaust, and it's brought up in Marty Supreme with the honey.
Holocaust honey.
The Holocaust honey story, where he's covers his body in honey and feeds it to the prisoners, which is a disturbing and deeply moving to me depiction of Jewish strength and resilience. But is the kind of Inglourious Bastards version of that Jewish nervous energy that I'm talking about. It's the we're killing and scalping Nazis, and this is our comeuppance. This is our
We're taking no prisoners.
We're taking no prisoners. We're stronger than it looked like with all the Jews that died. And there's actually there's a great story. Norman Finkelstein talks about it, that the best of us did not survive, implying that there's always an implication amongst survivors of the Holocaust that you must have done something to survive. You must have given someone up. You could have been a capo. You could have been someone. You could have betrayed someone.
The guilt of survival. Right?
Exactly, but on not just personal guilt, but that is was thrust on those people by the Jewish community, and to an extent, he talks about that being pretty accurate. Like, his parents don't talk about those times, but implied that the best of us didn't survive, and I don't know. I had all those swirling thoughts during this movie, along with how funny it was to me. I thought it was. I thought the performances were great. Marty
Mauser.
Marty Mauser and Timothy Chalamet's career best performance, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I loved it.
I echo a lot of those same sentiments as someone who's a big connoisseur of the Safdie's kind of anxiety cinema, and someone who I believe like Uncut Gems is one of the best character studies. Going along that line of character studies throughout our conversation, I think this is the character study of the year. And I think it's I think in the pantheon of kind of iconic movie characters, I do see Marty Mauser kind of having a firm spot there.
By the way, what's the Bronstein's obsession with holes in the floors and falling through?
Right, because there's a scene in this movie where Marty is taking a shower and falls through the floor in his bath onto Abel Ferreira's leg, breaking his leg.
His arm. His arm,
yes.
Yeah, and then there's also, of course, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
Yeah, the arm that he shot King of New York with.
Staring up into the ceiling, into the hole.
But just continuing on, yeah, no, I think it's a layered kind of character study where like he is the American dream or nightmare made manifest. It's all that distilled into a character who's always riding the fine line between his infectious confidence and being a complete loser, right? Yeah. And I think that makes him such an interesting character. Again, it's so enthralling, it's mercurial, and you know, he's a dreamer that's so destructive, and I like to say he kind of puts Icarus to shame. But what I really love is on top of it is just the filmmaking, the kind of grit that you have there, and then I think this is the score of the year. I was fortunate. I was fortunate enough to interview Daniel Lopatin for the film. Yeah, amazing score, and I really love how the film bridges these kind of generations where it takes place mid-century America in the 50s, but then uses these kind of 80s synth pop type of tunes to inform his story. Yeah. And in a way, you know, you can read Marty as being kind of the new world or the new sound of that synth. Kind of cutting through this old world of the 50s, kind of like this kind of hot knife of energy. And I really
war.
Exactly, right? And I love how he's kind of the symbol of there's a beauty in kind of going for your dreams, even if they don't amount to much. So yeah. I think it's on par with kind of Howard Ratner or kind of that ilk. I think he's one of the most interesting characters, I think, on celluloid.
Fascinating, this post-war discussion, because he goes to Japan, which had to, for its survival, embrace Western constitution and open up to the world, and that
how they get past the travel ban though.
Both societies are coming to terms with what happened in World War II and are changing at a rapid pace, and Marty is seeing a power vacuum and he's taking advantage of that. Like I said, I worry about the interpretation, but that's not my business. I think I don't know. As someone who's interested in portrayal of Judaism in film, this was fascinating to me, and I really loved it. But let's hear what you have to say about that.
I was so excited. We were getting so close to number one, and I was like, maybe none of us will have it on our list, and I got really excited. Everything you said was very fascinating, and I'm glad that you got something out of it.
Yeah.
I did not.
Okay.
By no means would I ever call this a bad movie. Its craft is self-evident. Josh is an extremely good director. To me, I just feel like I've never seen a movie that was so much about its own hype as Marty Supreme. This to me is like kind of the nothing burger of the year. It basically seems like a beat for beat remake of both Good Time and Uncut Gems, with all the interesting stuff taken out, in my opinion. Timothy Chalamet is great as Timothy Chalamet trying to win an Oscar. As himself on award shows, talking about how he's in the pursuit of greatness.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is...
I just think it's viral marketing, but...
I feel like this movie is a marketing campaign in search of a movie.
It's interesting. I really, when watching it, like I agree. I thought that whole marketing campaign was super obnoxious to the point of getting very annoying.
I do think
but
he
I
basically
rarely
bought
find
himself an Oscar.
Yeah, but I rarely find a movie that kind of when watching it, I felt so detached from that marketing campaign.
Like he's gonna win like Best Actor? I'm not sure he will.
I think he will win on the strength of the marketing campaign of the movie and less on the start performance.
Maybe.
It's so interesting because when I watched the movie, because they screened it for Toronto critics or press in November before that whole marketing hype went through, and I was in love with the movie before that. And then when I saw the kind of marketing train, I was like,
"Oh, this is gonna be annoying."
Like, it's annoying, but it's like I know that the movie's good, so like I was so detached from it.
Yeah, I mean, I was annoyed by the marketing. I'm annoyed generally by Timothée Chalamet as a person, especially his like whole. His sort of his pivot in this round to like being like the Soulja Boy dancing hip hop head. I don't know.
I miss Xbox controller modding Timothée Chalamet.
I miss floppy hair. Possibly bisexual Timothée Chalamet before he started dating like Kylie Jenner. And talking about how he's in pursuit of greatness.
The most alpha.
I just feel like the marketing is totally has nothing to do with the movie. Like I feel like the two are so detached from each other. I think that
the reason
marketing,
I bring it up. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm just gonna say I feel like the marketing is just a way to get kids to watch this movie.
Listen, I totally get it. I totally get it. If I had found the movie substantive, I would not be saying this. I just did not find the movie substantive. I would love to watch it again. To me, the references to being Jewish in the movie felt to me like trying to graft some depth on like just this is a hero worship movie. I do not care what people say. You are meant to go through this movie being like, Marty Mauser is the fucking best. He gets a totally undeserved.
This is my girlfriend's perspective.
Yeah.
Wow, it's interesting. I never got that because what I loved about the movie was that it found a way to make you. It's a character you hate to love because he was a complete asshole, and I was like, I hate that I'm rooting and have empathy towards this character.
I know the way that film bros work, and film bros will watch this movie and talk about it as like this is a very complicated. He's like a character who leaves a wake of destruction, but at the end of the day, everybody wants to be Marty Mauser. I really.
But this is my biggest fear for like young Jewish men watching this and wanting to be Marty Mauser. That's exactly what.
Like
it's interesting. I watch it. I'm like, I don't want to be him, but I admire the complicatedness of the character and the kind of rough, unfurled edges of the character.
I just wonder what this movie says that those other two movies didn't say, because I do feel like it's basically the same things as those two movies. It felt the most.
I do like those other two movies better, but
I do too. I love Heaven Knows What. It felt the most mechanical plot wise, where it was like, oh, look at all the plates I can keep spinning in this movie. Look at all these different plots that are going on.
But I felt the same way about Uncut Gems as well. Like
I don't like Uncut Gems that much.
Oh, I love Uncut Gems. Okay.
the Abel Ferreira subplot in this movie is not good. Like it's so forced. Oh my God, the scene where the guy's like looking through the window, he's like, oh, I don't see him, and he gets shot. I was like, what am I watching right now? Like this is like a sub Coen Brothers movie right now. I don't know. I really want you to be right, to be quite honest with you. I want it to be like a deep statement about Jews. You know, he calls himself like Hitler's worst nightmare or something like that. Or
exactly.
I'm the product of Hitler's worst defeat, or the product of Hitler's greatest defeat.
The product of Hitler's defeat, and I'm his worst nightmare.
Yes.
It says both of those lines.
I really want, because I want movies to be good.
Yeah.
I would like it to have all that. I felt like that little Holocaust flashback was, just a very, very compelling story, and I'm certain like a true story. Didn't feel like it belonged in the movie to me. I just feel like the ending of the movie is just such a flop. It strikes me as like Josh Safdie reaching a certain age and being like, imagine how crazy it must be to like be a dad. See that little baby. It's like he wrote a movie and could not think of an ending to this movie. So he's like, what if he went and like cried at the end? And I'm like, what? So he just gets out the game after this, like, and he just becomes a father.
He is there. Like, this is the O'Leary part of the movie. The fact that there will always be a bigger fish than you know, in this world, and even the organization that he has to play for has kicked him out. The only chance he has is at this stupid exhibition game, and he has to prostitute himself and his skills in the Harlem Globetrotters performances.
Which is I think that's an interesting part of the movie. I don't know if I get what his motivation is, because he doesn't really even seem that bummed out that he doesn't get to play in the finals of the thing, which seemed like that was his whole.
Wow, no, I did feel that he was really.
I thought that it's like, wow, my life is over.
I thought that's why he got desperate to do what he did.
And then he gets home, it realizes that he's completely alone, and being who he is, which is sociopathic levels of narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
Protecting his own ego, realizes he has to pivot now into familyhood.
I love the movie. I'm a big fan of, and I think it's one of the most
It is one of the most acclaimed movies of the year, and I am not in a lot of company
Odessa's
right now.
character too doesn't. Okay, that is my
women
biggest
criticism. Characters in Safdie movies.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Odessa's character.
Assholes
to me,
you hate to love.
But she does, like, why would she give up so much of her life for this guy? Doesn't make sense to me.
She does nothing in the movie other than just blindly support Marty,
who has hurt her over and over and over again.
Like, again, so much of the movie just feels like it's about the movie. It's like, look at the stunt casting. Look, we have Kevin O'Leary, we have Hyssop Rocky, we have Abel Ferreira, we have the great Jack Fisk as our production designer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything is in place, except for what the fuck is the point of this fucking movie? If we want to talk about capitalism, like, I just feel like No Other Choice is way more interesting. If we want to talk about just like a guy who continues to make bad decisions, I think Uncut Gems is more interesting. I think Good Time is more interesting and actually has the ending actually has stuff going on under the hood. I just feel like this is just a hype movie. Even the fucking name, guys. This is just, it's like a movie about streetwear. Like, it's called Marty Supreme.
Oh, yeah.
They're selling fucking
the ping pong balls.
Like, this is I don't know.
Oh, I see.
I just feel like it's all hype. The movie is very hypely made. It's really, really fun to watch. No one would disagree with that.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything out of it.
Wow.
To reiterate, for me, I'm becoming more and more interested in the history and perspective of American Judaism in films like this.
I'm not Jewish, by the way.
Oh, no, that's okay.
If you guys can't tell, I'm not Jewish.
This is a very, it's personal and niche to me. Especially,
You got a little bit of a Josh Safdie look going on.
Oh, yeah.
Who's your muse?
My muse, Uncut Gems.
I almost did it too. I saw myself.
I'm thinking about the direction that Judaism is headed. Judaism as a concept, but also self-identifying as a Jew out in public, and it's not the most important thing in the world, obviously, especially considering what certain aspects of Jewish culture are doing right now. But rather, I'm fascinated with the perception of weakness amongst the most famous of Jewish characters in Hollywood and cinema history.
So Marty is a rebuke of these characters. He's
For sure.
Something different. And then he goes and
Not
is
the
just,
first,
right?
By any means. Like, I was thinking of
Howard Ratner, Uncut Gems.
Yes. Oh, well, he's a pathetic character, but like,
I just find that, like, I'm not a huge Uncut Gems fan, but I just find that movie so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Like, every aspect of it, him selling these jewels that are
Yeah.
actually from like the Congo,
or Ethiopia,
Ethiopia, exactly, and like the relationship.
But that's
between,
what's like he's
whiteness
profiting
and
off
blackness.
of that.
The relationship between this Jewish guy
the
and
conversation,
these basketball players.
yes, for sure. That conversation is far more interesting than whatever relationship he has with Tyler, the Creator, in
Who is wasted?
yeah,
in the movie.
Yeah.
I disagree, but
I thought
we're born to
I thought
disagree.
their scene. That's just their dynamic together when they're running that con is
Best scene of the movie.
I enjoyed that.
fascinating.
Best scene of the movie
Yeah.
is them running that con.
But that's the-
and using that
That's the wit.
Jewishness against.
Yes, that's like the wit. That's like the I'm nothing. I'm pathetic. You can beat me, and then just like coming out there and slaughtering them and making so much goddamn money. It's just like I find it enthralling.
They
But
also do that in Kingpin by the Farrelly brothers.
Classic.
there was a lot. I had a blast too. I went with a large group, and it was a great conversation. By the way, the only the only non-man who went to watch with us, immediately clocked into the faults of Odessa. No one else did.
No.
Odessa's character.
I was lucky enough to see it. I think,
and I find that perfectly ironic for
I do think it is like just kind of a guy's movie.
maybe.
Like I don't want to take it away from the film. I love that people are going out to the movies. I love that people are going to movies that are not like superhero
I feel like
movies.
my love of this film is so disconnected from the discourse and from the marketing and from how well it's doing at the box office, because of how personally it just hit me in my core. Not that I want to be Marty Supreme. That's my point. This is my biggest fear, is that people will be like, oh, this gives me what's the word? This gives me like an okay to act like that. You know what I mean?
I do feel like there's a lot of movies like recently that are like about complicated figures that are supposed to be like complicated portraits that to me just come off as hero worship movies. I think of Oppenheimer having come out recently as well. Like it's supposed to be like a complicated portrait, but really I feel like you're just supposed to be like, man, Oppenheimer fucking rules. He was so sad when all those Jewish
that's an
people
opinion
got...
I totally agree with. Agree with.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say I don't agree with that at all.
I that's exactly what my point with Oppenheimer is. But it's interesting that we're so on polar opposites on this movie.
Yeah.
So,
I had a feeling. I was like, I'm walking into hostile territory by not liking Marty Supreme.
That's why I felt in 2023 with Oppenheimer.
Right. Yeah.
For
I'm
me,
glad people can get stuff out of movies that I can't get stuff out of.
I mean, I was lucky enough to see the movie at Lightbox because they screened it there, and I don't think it played at Lightbox ever because Cineplex has first run or whatnot. But I don't know. Texture is a commodity that I love a lot, and I emphasize a lot in films, and I think this is one is brimming with texture, and I think I really love I love when you can care about flawed characters and invest in them and find qualities of yourself in them, even though you abhor so much of them. So, and for me, a character forward movie are ones that I'm always going to gravitate towards. So,
okay, guys, we are jumping into our number one. Is that right?
That's right. I want to hear yours first.
Okay. This is definitely not on anyone's list. It's pretty niche. This is a movie
F1
called exactly. Formula One, the movie. No. Ildiko and Yeti. She's a Hungarian director who made a movie called Silent Friend, and
it's with Tony Leung.
That's right.
Yes,
from,
and
In the Mood for
Léa
Love.
Seydoux is also in it, right?
Yeah, Léa Seydoux. And
the beautiful Léa Seydoux.
So
Call me again.
I'm sure they will lean into that for marketing purposes. I really, really hope this gets some kind of release because it's a very fucking strange concept and film. It's extremely art housey. Yeah, I'll explain it. Yeah. Is that what you?
No, yeah, I think because I saw a part of it at TIFF, but I had to leave because I had like conflicting, so I wasn't able to get through it. But what I understand, it's about a ginkgo tree.
That's right.
But then it's multiple multiple eras that kind of have that relationship with that.
So
that
it's
Tony Leung's in it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So it's a ginkgo tree that sits on a university campus. So it's a combination of 3 different stories taking place roughly like 40 years apart, each one of them. So the first story deals with the very first woman inducted into the biology program at that university. It takes place in Germany.
Yeah, okay.
The university is in Hamburg or some small German town, and
is it the 20s that the first part takes place in?
1910s, I think.
Okay.
1908 it says.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, camera died. Let's fix that real quick.
It's like the movie. It said "Silent Friend."
Hey, Dale. I think one of the cameras died just now.
See, that's how much of a yapper I am. I killed the camera.
I mean, we've been here for a while.
For a while, sorry. We're almost done though. We're on our last film. I just want to turn this one back on before we get back to it. Sorry.
No worries.
Oh yeah.
Got some hot takes happening.
We can
Probably
stick
it.
with this one for the rest of the time, if anything.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's
was gonna overheat too soon.
okay.
Oh, it is the battery actually. But it's on the freaking charger. I don't know why it's not.
strange.
Check the 35 minutes left. You guys gonna be done in 30 or no?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
should be fine.
Should be done in 10.
Try again.
Okay.
So yeah, first story's in 1908.
1908. We'll wait until
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna
sure.
pour in
Sorry.
sound. No.
Yeah, okay, I think that's what I mean, we can, that's not, I think when I was watching, I'm like, I thought, is this the Weimar Republic right now? But that's the 20s.
Yeah. Thank you. So the first story takes place in 1908, and it's about the first woman inducted into this biology program at this university. Then it cuts to the 70s, and it's like almost like Summer of Love, or 60s rather. It cuts almost to like Summer of Love vibes, and along with it, each of these time jumps features a aesthetic change.
A stylistic shift, yeah.
So there's a new camera being used. The first section is in black and white. Next, it's shot on like 16 millimeter. It looks like it's super fuzzy, and it looks like it's like footage captured like right from this university at that time. Is very period accurate. And it's about it's kind of like a love triangle between two students who are in. One of them is in the biology program. The other is like outside. She's like an English student or something like that, and they have a love triangle with the two of them and this plant that he's studying, or that she's studying rather. So she's the biology student, and he's not in the biology program. This tree that she's studying the behavior of. She's trying to figure out if she can basically program this plant to like react to her entering the gate. Or,
kind of like a music for mushrooms kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. So, and then we jump to the 2020s, and it's the midst of COVID, and the campus is locked down, and that's where we get Tony Leung's entrance, and he's a professor from Hong Kong who joins the university right as it shuts down for COVID, and he's stuck there alone with the janitor who's like very suspicious of what he's doing on campus and acting. He is xenophobic towards him, and that's kind of implied. But he's a neurophysicist, a neurologist. He's a neurologist and is like trying to connect with Leah Seydoux and do like neurobotany with her. So all of these stories are about plants in one way or another. That they're also about social isolation, the fact that this woman is the first and only woman in her program, the fact that these two lovebirds aren't connecting, and the fact that the campus is locked down and his only connection with other intellectuals, other professors, is through a screen. So it's all different forms of isolation, all different forms of solitary confinement. Witnessing all of this is our main character, the silent friend, this ginkgo tree on campus. And that's our only camera now. And for me, it's such a scientific film that doesn't feel cold, because similar to this documentary that you brought up, I think, I haven't seen it.
Seven Walks?
Yes, that's right, 7 Walks. It sounds like the science takes a backseat to the emotionality that provides. And like the stories that you can tell through human curiosity, scientific endeavors,
Interesting.
I don't know, the different fields in science and the scientific method itself, it becomes like the
Interesting.
process to understand yourself and your emotions.
Interesting. So despite its setting, it's less intellectual and very much emotional.
Yes, but I've never seen a movie that is obsessed so heavily with the scientific method, and it feels like we are seeing like research and science take place in the process. Whether it's accurate or not doesn't matter too much. It's the vibe that it gives off, and this university provides like such a cool way of telling this story. And I don't know, it's very art housey. I've never seen a film like this before, and I think it's uniquely singular. I think people will find one of these stories very captivating, at least one of them captivating. So Yeah,
I'm
that's my
sad.
film of
You're
the
making
year.
me sad that at TIFF I was watching it and then I had to make a choice.
How
'cause
far along did you get? Do you remember?
I got.
He had
right-
no other choice. He had to leave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, I wish it was because I had to go see No Other Choice, but it was. It was. I got until the 70s when I got to 16 mil.
Okay.
And then I had to leave, because I had an assignment, and I decided to go see Hamnet.
Oh, I see.
It's funny. This has, I'm certain, nothing to do with the movie, but another Léa Seydoux movie that's set in 3
The
different
the
timelines.
Beast.
I don't understand that movie at all. I do. I just didn't get it at all. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I have to give it another watch. I remember when I watched it at TIFF, it was on one of those days where I
Right.
watched 4 movies.
Right.
I literally didn't understand.
But I did like
a
the
single moment of that movie.
Bertrand Bonello. I mean, I like
Completely
him.
went over my head.
One of my movies of the decade for sure. But
Wow.
but
I know. I've heard people say that, but I like seriously don't fucking get it.
all good. I don't want to derail it.
And-
Okay, let's say our number 1 movie of the year.
In tandem.
Yeah, in 3 seconds. So
Okay.
like 3, 2, 1, and then say that.
Okay, let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
One battle after another.
I knew it was gonna be there. If it didn't show up before.
My number 8, to be fair. I also loved it.
Well, no accounting for taste. No, I'm just kidding.
Let me wrap up Silent Friend real quick.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem. It's I just implore people to hear out what I had to say about it. It sounds like a very weird movie, but coming from a university background, I mean, we are at UTSC. I just felt like such a deep connection with that movie, especially that I was seeing it at TIFF. They brought a U of T professor out to talk about advances in because I saw it at a public screening at TIFF. They talked about the advances in botanical neuroscience and whether or not this sort of thing is possible, about pheromones, but also the entire time the professor was talking about just how deeply emotionally impacted she was. And I think anybody who's interested in documentary, interested in science, and afraid that there's a growing anti-intellectualism out there that is defunding and deprioritizing research and creating distrust in science and scientists will love this movie because it's less concerned with hammering home how important science is, but rather just how human it is to be curious about the world. So
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
I did not expect someone to have a number 1 that I hadn't even heard of, so that's awesome.
it's
Now you're
it's-
making me regret that I didn't finish it.
Well, I'm sure you'll see it eventually. It's awesome. Okay.
Why don't we say our number 1 movie of the year at the same time? 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
One battle after another.
Whoa. What is there even left to say about One Battle After Another?
You know, it's interesting because when I was looking back at it, you know, like it's Paul Thomas Anderson's first movie set in contemporary times
Yes.
since Punch Drunk Love, and so he, you know, it's interesting that even though he hasn't tackled the present in like more than 2 decades, his like this return to a contemporary setting feels so deliriously kind of attuned to our current
It's
kind of
actually
zeitgeist.
insane that he started making this movie like before Ice.
Yeah.
Like you watch this movie and you're like, what the fuck?
wait. This is not before Ice.
That he started to write the movie?
Yeah, there's Biden had actual children in cages during the Biden administration.
Let me walk this back. It's incredible that he like made this movie like he wrote
Before
this movie.
they militarized in public streets and started making a show of it.
Sorry. I didn't mean to say that there was no immigration.
I know, but I implore people to remember the fact that ICE has been and is a militaristic, fascistic force that both administrations, our past 2 administrations, have utilized to its fullest extent. The problem that Tim Walz has identified with ICE is that they're not well trained enough, that they're being hired too quickly. That is the cowardice of the Democratic Party.
I saw a tweet the other day, and it was like, Republicans like, we want to throw immigrants into unmarked vans, and it was like, Democrats, mark the vans.
Yeah. Mark the Vans is an evergreen fucking tweet. From 2021, by the way.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
On the same day we were recording this, that ICE has killed another innocent person right before we started recording. Has killed another protester.
So not before. Not
I
before.
didn't mean to get on my high horse. That's not at all what I meant.
No, I just like it. It's like we went to see this movie when it came out, and it felt like it was showing us the world that we were literally looking at.
I read a comment that said that one battle after another feels like it takes place 15 minutes into the future.
100%.
Yeah.
The first 45 minutes of this movie feel like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The opening scene. I have to say, I've not been a huge fan of the discourse that has been going around related to the movie.
Tiana Taylor's character?
Yes.
Yeah, Tiana Taylor's character, and just basically, I don't know, the way that it treats the French 75. It's like people really want this to be a revolutionary movie instead of just a movie about revolutionaries. No movie is going to be revolutionary.
And even though I still feel that
Do
it
you
is
mind sliding in just a bit? Sorry, just because we're on this camera alone.
no worries. And I do feel that it is steeped. It is steeped in a revolutionary verb for a world that does need it. Now, is it a kind of be-all, end-all treatise on the nature of revolution or revolutionaries? No,
it's ultimately a movie about a girl dad looking for his daughter.
It coils kind of a family saga into this type of narrative, and I think that's kind of the genius of it. And there's so many quotable moments. I mean, life, man, life, right?
You know what freedom is, Bob? It means no fear, like Tom fucking Cruise.
Gentlemen, I was once raped in reverse.
You mean a semen demon? This movie is it's unlike anything that I've ever seen in my life. It is, a movie, about these revolutionaries that's also just like very like silly and heavily sexualized. I know like the sexualization of some of the black women was something that was debated a lot in the movie. I feel like Tiana Taylor is a human being in the movie. She doesn't stand in for anybody. She's not meant to be like, oh, this is supposed to be Asada Shakur or anything like that. And I feel like people want to like look at the movie and make it one thing and read it as like a stand-in for anything else. But I think it's absolutely incredible.
No, it is. I mean, in terms of its sweeping vision, I mean, it again, like, those films that kind of blend or marry the lines of genre. It's a film that's both an action movie and then both a serious kind of tragic comedy, but then it's also really deliriously funny. And
kind of a chase movie the whole time, but the chase is a little bit, Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the best parts of the movie is that he is the least effectual character.
He accomplishes nothing.
He accomplishes nothing. He's basically,
but he represents everything.
He's on the trail of his daughter, but he's always one step behind.
He's fried his brain.
He's fried his brain. He doesn't.
Listen, man, I am an alcohol and drug lover. And for the life of my only child, I cannot remember her name.
Honey, I know how to drink and drive. Sorry, there's so many good lines. I've had a few. A few what?
A few small beers.
Few small beers. I mean, I quote that regularly on a daily basis.
I really hope Benicio wins Best Supporting Actor.
I also think his character is very key to some of the dialogue it does have about revolution, and because Bob, it represents kind of white America struggling to deal with this because it's very new, but this is a life that he's lived every day, and so that's why kind of that Zen kind of calmness comes into play.
You see how prepared they are for this shit to hit the fan.
Benicio seems like his brand of revolution, his little kind of underground railroad
that's his life
going on, is probably more effectual in the end than the French 75's guerrilla tactics and sort of blowing up.
Especially against the American Empire.
Absolutely. But at the same time, French 75 are like legends to him. When he finds out that Bob was part of the French 75, he's like, you're a real bad hombre, Bob. I don't even know what to say about this movie. It like the all the performances are so fun. So it's loosely based on a Thomas Pynchon novel, Vineland, but I think it's
which that book was about revolutionaries in Reagan's America.
Absolutely, and they weren't black revolutionaries either. So I think he adapted this in the same way he adapted Upton Sinclair's Oil for There Will Be Blood, where he took parts of the structure of it, but it's not like a straight Pynchon adaptation the way that Inherent Vice is.
It's a loose adaptation.
It's a loose adaptation. I think Inherent Vice is actually the closest one to him. People are saying that this is finally PTA has merged his early Coke phase with his later weed dad phase, and this is kind of like the both of them. I don't know. Every once in a while, he puts out a movie that's unlike anything that he's made. That transcends all of his influences, like obviously Altman and Scorsese. Like he just feels like he's on just a completely different level. Yeah, it's an anti-fascist movie. I think for sure. It's not a revolutionary movie. No movie will be revolutionary. But it's amazing how at the end of the movie,
movies are evil.
movies are evil.
And I think it's really interesting how it's a film that comes from a major American studio,
Yes.
but it feels like counter-programming, right? And one that when you're watching it, it insists that it feels like a call to action at times, but it understands that when we really should have taken action was decades ago. But maybe we should recognize before the pieces are really swept under the rug. So,
But what's really beautiful about the movie is that, so it cuts forward from the French 75's actions where they're like, letting refugees go out of refugee camps, robbing banks to fund their revolutionary actions, blowing up buildings, basically doing like, left-leaning domestic terrorism. It cuts to like 15 years after that, where
15 or 16, I
15,
think.
16.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio is now like wasted on, he's burnt his brain on drugs and alcohol. His daughter doesn't believe any of his stories.
I mean,
he's like, you need to take this tracker with you because they're going to come.
He's like Oliver Stone as a dad now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And she's like, yeah, okay, sure, Dad. And then suddenly all the shit hits the fan. And by the end of the movie, she's going to join a protest that's happening, outside city limits. It's like the next generation is picking it up. So it does believe in revolutionary act. It does believe in, standing up, speaking truth to power.
Art imitates life. There was a fantastic More Perfect Union bit on these two high school students who are doing Ice Watch. They're 17 years old. Two brothers who are doing Ice Watch in Minneapolis.
Amazing.
And they're putting their necks out for this. And the fact that they're underage is
Yeah, I
actually...
saw that.
There's
yeah.
a scene in the movie where one of the French 75 gets taken, and then kids from the neighborhood go in and they start to like put out the distress call like they've been trained.
Yeah.
There's this shadow network, like when Benicio del Toro is driving home, there's like skateboarders who are coming.
Yeah,
it's like we wish the left was this organized, but it takes place in a world where the left is like super fucking organized.
Yes,
and it's
but
like
we also just saw the very first general strike in America since 1946.
that's cool.
In
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But they're like it's people who are engaged in this because what they understand is that the fight against fascism is never over. It's just one battle after another. And it keeps going. Sean Penn is fantastic in the movie. I just want to talk about just a moment in the movie because he's such a detestable character throughout the whole thing.
Daddy-daughter games.
He's attracted to Teyana Taylor, but he can't be with her.
He's
ashamed of it. He gets he's being vetted to join this white supremacist organization. So the plot gets put into
Hail
effect
Saint Nick.
Christmas Adventures.
with Christmas Adventures Club, where he has to basically try to go kill Chase Infinity, which may or may not be his daughter with Teyana Taylor, so he can get into this white supremacist league. There's a moment, he's so hateful during the movie, but there's a moment around the end when he's being led up to the Christmas Adventures Club. He's in the elevator, and he takes a comb, and he like puts the comb in his mouth to like.
Oh yeah.
And he looks like a scared, lost little boy in that moment. It's just like Anderson has a lot of Jonathan Demme's humanism as well, where you can see humanity even within these like detestable characters.
It showed a flash of weakness or just alien behavior that
Just a flash of like who's the actual person inside
Behind-
this?
Yeah.
Who's the scared little boy who has become this Colonel Lockjaw?
Yeah.
The names in the movie are so good. He like transposes all these like great Pynchon names and makes up for some of himself. Perfidia Beverly Hills is his creation.
Yeah.
It is not in the Pynchon.
Yeah.
sounds very
novel.
But I also
Pynchon-like.
find it very terrifying. It's because this type of mentality where these are the organization turns on Penn's or on Lockjaw, and he understands that they are actively trying to seek him out and trying to counteract him, and he still, despite everything, wants to be a part of them, even though he knows they were the ones that tried to get him. And it's that type of mentality or that kind of cronyism that's kind of infecting America, or all of our institutions are kind of corrupting. What is democracy anymore anyways?
Power is completely lost on people who are organizing out on the streets of Minneapolis. It's not even like Republicans in Minnesota doing this. It's some amoebus force, completely untraceable, untrackable, with no accountability. The amount of people that have been hired in ICE, with absolutely no say from the general public, and it's feels impossible to catch up to.
There's also a class war element to it where Sean Penn thinks that he's part of this club because he's, Republican, whatever. He is works to detain immigrants and stuff. He thinks that he should be safe with them, but he has more in common with Leonardo DiCaprio than he actually has with the actual powers. The powers have no problem executing him, getting rid of him, sweeping him under the rug. He wants so much to be part of this bigger club, but he ultimately
he's nothing to them, right?
He's nothing. He's absolutely nothing.
What mix? It's black.
Unfortunately, it's black, and they're all they're like, oh my god, that's terrible.
It's a vicious movie at times, and it just blood curdling, but I mean,
so
like you
funny.
said, like you said, prescient to an unbelievable degree. The fact that he started writing this before the show of ICE began.
Well, I want to say that under the last two administrations, sorry.
I didn't mean it
but
like that.
I also
I'm sorry.
I
was not trying to.
I'm totally.
But
you brought a lot of great context. to that.
No.
I think it's important to remember, but regardless, the fact that yes, it came before the show of it started is, uncanny. Really uncanny.
And I think that him, Paul Thomas Anderson and Ari Aster, both have to be commended this year for making movies about the current moment.
Exactly.
After, there's been so much talk that most of the big directors only want to use period pieces. They want to have fucking iPhones in their
PTA's
movie.
thing as well. His first contemporary set movie since 2002.
And I've been loving the movies that he's been making because he's been making these movies about America at different times. The Master being about America, post World War II, and sort of what that did to people, and sort of this going back to just normality after this war, and how boring that is, and people not fitting in. Yeah. There Will Be Blood about industrialization, the oil boom and everything. It's crazy to see him kind of put that focus on today and being so good at it.
Yeah, and I think it's another thing that it's interesting that this is his most accessible movie in a sense. But
It's almost an action movie.
Yeah.
But it's unlike any action movie I've ever seen. So it's very hard to classify what this movie is.
It's an action movie that turns kind of the open road into an enveloping nightmare, and I loved it.
And I think part of the stuff that got him in trouble with certain people, it's the way he's trying to tell this story. The fact that the Jungle Pussy, who is an actual rapper, plays kind of a woman named Jungle Pussy in the movie, and there's all this stuff about this pussy don't pop for you, and this heavily they were seeing the black characters as so heavily sexualized, but it's they're sexualizing their self. They're they're fighting back against fetishization. Yeah. They're taking their sexuality and making it part of their power.
Mm-hmm. And also got a props for that reference to Battle of Algiers as well. While he's
straight up,
he's sparking
getting
up
high, watching Battle of Algiers.
That is a unavoidable comparison, and also a very funny moment from earlier this year when Catherine Bigelow and House of Dynamite. She was doing her press tour for House of Dynamite, and she shouted out fucking Battle of Algiers in her Criterion Closet video.
It's you are a CIA op at this point, Catherine Bigelow.
It's okay, I forgive you. She made Point Break. It's fine.
I love her. I love Strange Days.
I love Strange Days. I just
Near Dark.
It was it's a movie that apparently every politically motivated director wants to pretend like they're making.
I think that was the
Paul Thomas Anderson doing it while the guy sparks up a J is the perfect way of doing it.
Making it silly.
Because these guys think that's the point, right? You're reliving your glory days where you were once genuinely a revolutionary.
Yeah.
That is what that would look like, you know? and but he's like ineffectual now and impotent and just reliving it through these movies that are still relevant.
He
today.
just follows her along the whole time. Even at the end, he doesn't save her. Spoiler alert, she saves herself, and he's just there to basically hug her
yeah.
at the end of the movie.
But sometimes all you need, just a nice hug.
It's beautiful.
It is
beautiful ending.
beautiful.
So many just like pulse pounding moments.
And
in
also
it.
Johnny Greenwood somehow makes tapping the same piano key amazing.
maybe a career best for Johnny Greenwood.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's all the pieces of the puzzle fit together so perfectly, and it looks unlike anything else on the landscape, unlike any other movie that's come out this year. And I would
That's
say
another thing. I mean, in terms of the cinematography, like I love how it's this blend of like this VistaVision kind of epic Hollywood filmmaking with the grit of the 70s. Kind of like I got a lot of French Connection, Last Detail vibes from the movie as well in terms of its grit. So
Yeah.
I loved it. It's a really, cumulative cinematic experience. I think it's the one to define this year for sure.
I think it's it's in my top 2 Paul Thomas Anderson movies. I think it's maybe the best thing he's ever made, honestly.
Yeah. I echo that sentiment.
Okay,
Life, man. Life.
Before we cut,
for sure.
can you guys tell me your top 10 again? All right, so we've tallied up the movies that have appeared on more than one list. So we're going to give you the top 6 of the year with all of us aggregated together. Number 6 with 4 points, we have Kelly Reichardt's The Mastermind. Number 5 with 8 points, we have If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Number 4 with 14 points, we have No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook. Number 3 with 16 points, we have Sinners. Number 2 with 18 points, Marty Supreme. And number 1 with 22 points, One Battle After Another.
Yeah, nice.
I'm so glad to have been here today. I'm so psyched to watch the movies that y'all have mentioned that I haven't seen, and also to rewatch some of the ones that I have seen, like Marty Supreme, like Surratt, and something else that you said. Hopefully, I can get a little bit more. Oh, and finish Train Dreams.
I echo the same sentiment. It was great talking movies with you guys. Learned a lot. Took a lot of your perspectives to heart, and hopefully you have us again.
2025, I think after talking it through like that, it is a fantastic movie year, like genuinely.
I really think so. We talked about a bunch of movies, but we didn't get into a lot of movies that I thought were going to make my top 10 list this year. Universal Language, some people can consider it having come out 2024, but
yeah, also one of my faves.
a wonderful,
Meet you
hilarious
at
movie.
the Louis Riel Memorial near the Persian Tim Hortons.
yeah.
The Persian Tim Hortons is the greatest thing.
Help, I
that's
took
ever
too many
been.
edibles, now I'm stuck at the Persian Tim Hortons.
I think my friend made that tweet.
Oh, that's funny.
Slime
Yeah.
the garbage man.
That's funny.
Yeah, this has been an absolute blast, guys.
Hell yeah. Okay, thank you so much for watching the Radio FWD podcast, and check out those movies that we just talked about, and yes, I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.